Mm, mm. Oh yeah, I'm with this, with it. I'm just gonna lay back and I'ma drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. We about to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready, let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the beat, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk.
All right, y'all. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J is live for the first time in 2023. First time we've done a show in about 90 days, about 3 months. Very, very excited. It's the flagship show of Legacy and That Radio. I could tease it, but it is just so much that we need to get to. We're going to just get to it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Flagship show of Legacy and That Radio. Live right now.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get. Yeah.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
32. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. Live from NewDen, Legacy and That Radio. Thank y'all, everybody, for rocking with us tonight. We appreciate it. We are excited. It's the first time we've been on the show since December, in the year of 2022. And here we are back together. Very, very excited. We're already getting some salutations and folks checking us out already. We getting some love. Comment says, glad to have you kings and queens back. I'm efforting the origin of that comment. I could read it, but I can't see who said it just yet because I'm still working through some stuff. But I'm excited. I'll shout you out here once I get you pulled up. I'm excited. My tag team partners excited. You guys are used to hearing me call them the usual suspects. And we're going to go ahead and get them introduced so we can get to y'all show. And I say y'all show because it is a group effort for the last 11 years. We have been going on 12 later on this year. We have been in internet radio and podcasting, live podcasting. So thank you. Without further ado, I'm going to go around the room, get the usual suspects introduced here. And the first person I'm going to introduce here, you have seen this brother sit across this table with me for the last, I guess, almost 4 years as a partner here with me on the show. He is my brother and yours. My brother John is here. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? It's good to see you over there in your perch.
It's good to be here. Good to be seen. Good to be back. What's up, people?
Yeah.
How y'all feeling? We feeling good over here. It's good to be back. Yeah, 2023. WTF?
Yeah. How about that? How about that? How about that?
WTF?
Let's get some
and
some
that'll be it.
salutations. Our legal eagle, our sister Tamika Robinson is checking us out. She said, "Hey, family, welcome back. We're gonna get our next usual suspect introduced. She's been rocking with us probably about 3 years. About 3 years. Came along right after John. And I tell you, right around, yeah, right before John. And we are very happy to be back. And I look across to my right hand, my sister and yours, Steph B. Steph
Always
B.
forward, brothers. Always
Yeah,
forward.
yeah.
I love it.
Always forward. Always
Yes.
forward.
Yes.
How you doing, man?
You know what? I really can't complain.
Yeah.
I'm with my favorite Reese cup combination, Mr. Peanut Butter and Mr. Chocolate here. And I'm just happy to see your faces,
Yeah.
happy, healthy,
Yeah.
and doing your thing. And I missed you, fellas.
We miss you too, man. You know, it's
Yeah.
funny. You know, we're friends, the three of us outside of the show.
Yes.
And so
I don't count a lot of men as truly
Yeah.
platonic friends.
Yeah.
And you two absolutely right up there.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy because you know we would hang out and talk to each other even if we didn't have the show in common.
I like you enough for that.
Yeah, you know, I talk to John, see John all the time, and you and I keep up with one another. It's just, you know, y'all my family.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really, really cool to be in fellowship with you guys and to be back. John, you feel the same way over there, man? You miss me? Do you miss me, man?
See you all the damn time.
You ain't give him enough time
You know what
to
I'm
miss
saying?
you.
See him all the damn time, man. I'm over here in this wonderful walkable city of Richmond without a vehicle. And Marcus has been, when I need to go somewhere that's further than my 4 or 5 mile limit, Marcus is coming to snatch me up. I see him all the damn
I
time.
love
He
it.
does.
I love it.
He does.
And I do know, that is one of those things where it does give you comfort. Like I know you two are looking out for one another. You know, I know that if I need you, I could pick up the phone or Facebook message you 911.
Yep.
And I think that's a part of community building is not just do we all live together, but do we all check in on one another? Do we make sure that we're doing well? Are we asking the right question? They say check in on your strong friends, check in on your friends, period. A lot of people aren't even checking in on their friends. It just so happens that they cross paths, whether it be via, Facebook or somewhere like that. But like truly checking in on one another, I think that's a almost a relic of the past. These days, sorry guys. Look, you can tell I'm not used to being back, or my kid isn't because I'm I'm on there and she has no clue. And my ring is off, so I don't know why I did that. But I really think one of the bigger benefits of how everything is used to be done is that now people are so heavy about having their space. Like, don't show up at my house. If I'm not, after a certain time, don't call me, this, that, and the other. And I can remember like living in Brooklyn and you knew who your neighbors were. It's funny, people assume you don't know a whole lot about everybody around you when you live in Brooklyn, but your block, your block. And the old lady on the block who's always looking out the window, right? and even in Jersey City, I've been in your city many a times. They know each other, and it wasn't punishment or it wasn't intrusion to be like, hey, how you doing? I stopped by, I knocked on the door, I want to make sure you're good. Now we're like, I'm in my house, I'm locked in, leave me alone. And I have come to realize with these past few weeks of some things I've been through, you need people to check in on you. You definitely need it. So.
It's funny to speak of well, hold on a second. We're getting the call here. So hopefully, when we were last on the show, we were having technical difficulties with the phone. So I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and that radio. Caller, we got to call it. Can you hear me? What's happening, man? Who's that calling? That's our brother Damon. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? Yeah, man. It's good to hear your voice. That's Damon calling us up. How
Hi,
you doing, bro?
Damon. Hello, Damon. How are you?
What's up, Dave? How you doing, bro?
Hello. Oh, when someone like Damon says lovely and talented, I'm in. Thank you, Damon. It's good to hear from you.
It's good to see. It's good to see that you rocking with us, bro. How you enjoying your evening? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we appreciate you checking us out, man. Thank you for rocking with us. Keep on listening. I'm not sure if the listeners can hear you. I'm still working through some stuff, but we appreciate you rocking. Keep on listening and jump on that chat. You got it, brother. You got it, brother. Peace. Ain't no have stuff with Marcus J live from New Den. Legacy Internet Radio. All right, let's get some of these comments in here so that we can get us going. All right, so the one that I couldn't see earlier, one of our favorite listeners from way back when, and he joined us on the show. He was one of our participants. Our brother Ernest Porter checked us out. He was the person who said, "Glad to have you, Kings and Queens, back." Brother Mike, K Dub's pops. Brother Mike is checking us out. It's good to see you, and he is saying he's glad to see us back. Let's see. We got cousin Tony is checking us out. He's saying peace to cousin and crew. Uncle H is checking us out, y'all.
Uncle H.
Hey,
yeah.
what's up?
Hey,
Uncle H is back, man. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Cousin Selwyn is checking us out. He's glad to see us back. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And our sister Laurel is checking us out. She is glad to see us here in New Den. So we got a lot of love. A lot of folks is checking us out. So what we will do now is go ahead and give them something to hear us kind of riff about. Y'all ready to rock?
I'm ready.
Y'all ready to rock?
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. So there's a few things. We're good.
You good?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's a few things that are going on in the news, and I honestly, really, I don't even really know where to start. We got two segments that we have to introduce tonight on the show. We're going to be introducing the Green Talk segment, and we will be introducing episodes later on. Of course, you'll have our illustrious teammates or the usual suspects will introduce those. But the first thing I want to talk about is Chris Rock, y'all.
Oh Lord.
We
gosh.
not even go play with it. We ain't
I'm
play.
out. Bye.
We ain't
See?
gonna play with it. We gonna get right to it. You know, because I thought about doing that one last because I
You
don't
got a
want
stopwatch?
because I don't want to take up the whole show.
That's what I'm saying.
You might
Yeah,
have to manage this
yeah.
one.
Get a stopwatch.
I will manage this, and I'm just gonna ask already now for y'all to just kind of give me the grace and latitude to just kind of stand you down if I need to stand you down because and that's not just the segment, but you know, I also want to make sure that we give a commitment to being tighter on time than we have been in the past because we'll mess around and sit in this joint till tomorrow o'clock.
Like we don't have someone
like we ain't got
something to do.
somewhere we can like we ain't got nowhere to be. You know,
Yeah, I
so
know.
a couple
Yo,
more
look, Don't throw
salutations.
your retirement in my face, John.
Couple more salutations. Cannon Green is checking us out. Peace to you, Cannon Green. Cousin Terry is saying peace, family. And one of the greatest men I've ever known in the history of my life, Pops J, is checking us out.
Yes. Hey, Pop.
Yeah, what's up, Pop? I glean the big gold smile when I see you checking in, man. It's good, good to see you there, bro. Ain't no ask Steph Marcus. All right, so John, I'm gonna let you hit the opening salvo. When I say Chris Rock, I don't have to explain that. I don't gotta go through the whole, well, I ain't gotta do all that. It's
Lay
Chris
up a
Rock.
little bit for the people.
All right.
So,
I mean,
they
I
may not have
guess
seen the live
unless they was laying up under a whole rock for the
a
last
rock or
year.
two.
Yeah, you see what I just did there, right? I didn't realize I just did that there.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, let's see. A couple more salutations. I do the salutations. The inspiration of Legacy Internet Radio. Our brother Jay Grizzy is checking us out.
What up, cuz?
Peace to you and whatnot. And our brother, the man himself, the legendary Tim Casey, is checking us out. The man that put Jay Grizzy, yours truly, on nearly 12 years ago, is checking us out. All right, so last year at the Oscars, Chris Rock is hosting. Will Smith gets up, smacks him across the face. Everybody saw it. It's been, I guess, a year because the Oscar season is here now. And Chris did a stand-up the other night called Selective Outrage, which the name I think is outstanding. I think the name is outstanding, by the way.
True.
It's very, very true. And, you know, he's going to get credit for coining that phrase, but we all been saying selective outrage for a long time. So he had his live stand-up, which served as his response to that. And, you know, it was an hour and he had plenty of time to get into that and other stuff. But I wanted to set it up without really tipping my own hand. Reynaldo Johnson is checking us out right now. He says, glad to have us back in the building. Peace to you as well, brother. So Chris Rock, John, you know, let's try to be concise when we hit these comments, because I got a feeling that we're going to want to stay in this, but we ain't going to have the time to do it for too long.
I'm gonna make it real simple.
I was talking to me.
I can't.
I might be laboring. Go ahead, bro.
When it happened, when the slap happened, right? I put the majority of the blame on Will. Gotta have self-control. I understand you were upset or whatever, but I wasn't mad that he slapped Chris. I was mad that he did it in front of a live audience before Questlove could pick up his award. He could have just waited, went backstage, saw him, and really mopped him up if he wanted to, or slapped him. Okay, whatever. I wasn't with the whole thing, oh, he bigger than him, he know he could beat him, and that, whatever.
Us little dudes in the hood know that's bullshit.
Right, whatever the case was, he got
from Brooklyn. He knows.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, womp womp.
The dude got slapped. He got slapped because he was running his mouth. It just I didn't like how it took place. Okay, and whatever was gonna happen behind it. Those two grown men handle their business. I wasn't chiming in on any morals or whatever. So Will, after he slapped him, you know, Chris was kind of like not understanding why he got slapped. So Will explained it to him. He said, keep my wife's name
in case you didn't know.
Out your cup and mug mouth. Right?
Cup and bug.
And then he was like, he still didn't understand. So he said it again. Keep my wife's name out your cup and mug mouth. And so Chris responded, I'm going to.
He did.
I'm good with that. I sent the message. You got the message. Now we good. Right? It didn't need to happen on the Oscars in front of perfectly good white people. We didn't need that. But I'm just saying, you know, we don't need anything that they could put on kindling for the fire of their racism and bullshit.
Okay.
Right? So
fair enough.
Last night he did it again. Or the other night, whatever it was. So obviously the slap didn't take.
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
Right? Obviously the slap didn't take. Because, right? He could have kept his response directed at Will. As a man, she didn't get up and slap you. He got up and slapped you. Whether it was for her benefit or not is inconsequential. Mm-hmm. He slapped you. Deal with him. Now, I don't necessarily got a whole bunch of love for her. Pass her days on, you know, a different world and maybe low down dirty shame. But, you know, she's an entertainer. She's of recent African descent. And, you know, she's part of the family. So it's cool, right? But you don't go around calling other men's wives the B word. Right? You don't go around blaming women for a conflict between two men. Although a good lot of the time, conflict between two men.
Don't do it, John. You know what? You really want to start off? You go right ahead, sir. You do
listen, men fight about their women. They do. Or they used to anyway. I don't know what's going on in today's society.
Yeah.
But back in the day, if two dudes was beefing that knew each other, it was better than 50-50 chance a woman has something to do with it. Not it's her fault.
Okay.
Not it's her fault, but it's one of the things guys will fight about some money, but they more quick to fight about some woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if it's not
I
their
can
woman,
agree.
it might be their mama or sister,
Okay.
right? But
Fair.
But the point is, you open now, dude, Mr. Rock, right? I don't want to hear your brother Tony or the other two brothers say anything, whatever. Because listen, if the man slap you again or stomp you out or do whatever he gonna do to you, if he gonna do anything to you, you brought that shit on yourself.
Yeah.
You was listen, you campaigning for another ass whooping, and if you get elected, make sure that you thank your constituents.
Yeah, that would be us.
I really like that delivery.
Yeah.
Right there.
Because dude, you grew up in Brooklyn, you know the rules. The slap was the slap. And the man told you, keep my wife's name out your mouth. He said it twice. You acknowledged it. You said you were going to. You lied. So that makes you as much of a B word as it makes him.
Right, which is what he
who
kept
got
calling
60
him.
pounds on you and slapped you. So if he's a B for that, you a bigger B for going back on your word, because your word is your bond.
Yeah.
And that's how I stand with that.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Steph, what you think about?
That, I gotta say, that was a very masculine take, because I did not think about that in the least. About he went back on his word. It didn't even dawn. That wasn't even what I thought about, and I love that take. I really do, because there is kind of that word is bond, right? And so this is my take on it. First, Chris Rock has made a very comfortable living with 50% or more of his comedy very sharply pointed at Black women, whether it was his wife or whatever. He is, as many people are saying, he is the Black friend that white friends love to have, because he's very comfortable. I mean, we've seen video of him allowing Louis C.K. to say the N-word with the hard R, and he was cool with it. And
Louis helps write his jokes, or used to anyway. So
yeah,
on.
and even Steinfeld was like, yo, this ain't cool, that type of thing. So I think there's always been an element of Chris Rock being one of those dudes where he's something about him doesn't sit right as a representative of the flock, of the community. Now, when Will hit him, I was more focused on the fact that Will's character always seemed to come across, at the time, I would have said, better than that. When I come to today, I'm like, his character is human. He did what a lot of men, to your point, would do. To really be honest, he kept it as real as you're ever going to see it in Hollywood. He kept it as real as you're ever going to see it. A Philly dude reacted to a Brooklyn big mouth, and he smacked him for talking about his wife. And at first I was like, look, it really wasn't a joke about her hair. I thought it was more about her aesthetic that night, with the dress, the green dress, the very camo look, the very soldier look. I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt. He looked so shocked and thrown off. I felt bad for him. When I watched this special, I immediately was like, he should hit you again, but in private. He should get his goons, because you overstepped your boundaries. And I'm not saying that I am a healthy proponent of violence, but what I'm saying is sometimes you earn. You wrote a check that your ass can't cash, but sometimes you're gonna find out that people are okay with a bounce check.
Yeah.
They're okay walking up on you. And he went too far.
Yeah.
He went too far in discussing the infidelity in their marriage. It had nothing to do with the situation. Granted, they put it out there and they talked about it and everything else, but it had nothing to do with this situation. And I don't really think that Chris Rock is in a position, who, by the way, he has acknowledged he has a condition where he struggles with knowing what is right and wrong to say, almost like he's
convenient.
Yeah, he said that,
How
almost like he's
convenient,
on
though.
the spectrum of autism. I don't believe
That's
it,
convenient.
but that's what he said.
Yeah.
Agreed. But now you're just showing that you're willing to turn anything into fodder for your jokes. So you got to be prepared for whatever you get in return. I really felt like where he overstepped his boundaries was discussing the infidelity or however they want to put it in their marriage. It's not that they put it out there. It's that he tried to use it to justify how things went down. No, you got smacked in your mouth because you were bold enough to say something about someone's wife. You said it in a public space. You thought you were safe. You know that man. You brothers knew each other beyond this Hollywood stuff. You already knew this is a way, because behind cameras, you know how brothers talk. Y'all are brothers. He didn't expect it, but he knew it was in him.
Yeah.
He knew he's heard when they talk brother to brother the way y'all do. He's heard Will talk some purity shit. He's heard him. So he may not have expected that, but you put yourself in that position. And then to turn around, I like where he said, I am not the victim, but I thought it was interesting that he painted himself as the victim the entire time.
Yeah.
He tried to paint himself as this small person. And then in a very white way, he made Will this big hulking individual. He might be tall, but he's not a big, like he painted him like Terry Crews, right?
He's close.
Will's a big guy.
He's
but
a bigger guy than
yeah.
Chris, but I'm just saying
Will is big and
He made him
muscular.
sound scary.
he made him sound scary.
And it's Will
I
Smith.
didn't
Will is
like-
scary at 6'3", 235 pounds, and mostly
Look,
muscle. That's scary.
As a black man in Hollywood, he hasn't whooped anybody else's ass since he was 17. He's not somebody creating fear.
Yeah.
And you painted him that way. And the reason I have a problem with that is because of what it then does to this man's reputation as a
100%.
black man
100%.
going forward. That is where I had the bigger problem. You didn't need to go there. He
Yeah.
could have got up there and said, yeah, y'all saw him, punch me. And there were a million comedic ways, or smack me, a million comedic ways he could have handled it without turning him into this huge villain, because that's just a tool that white folks use anyway.
Yeah. Hastel Marcus J Live from NewDen Legacy and that radio. Let me get a couple of these comments in to see. Michelle is checking us out. She's saying, hey, y'all. Hey, girl. Hey. Yeah.
I love her.
Star Justice is checking us out, John. She says, I miss seeing y'all on Mondays. Also love you, Dad.
Aw.
man.
Love you too. Happy birthday,
love you,
Smooch.
Dad.
Happy birthday. I'm a little
Girl.
bit early, but happy birthday.
You just
Oh,
touched
and you
me
have a
too.
nickname for her?
That's Smooch.
Listen,
Man,
for all the girls out there that get that
yes.
real daddy love,
Yeah.
I just root for y'all every single day.
I just love
Oh,
that.
John.
I just love that. Yeah, you
So
would turn
sweet.
me into mush, and then I'm gonna be hard nosed when I go in on Chris in a minute.
Oh Lord,
Yeah.
he deserves it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Star, you just took me off of my gangster. I'm about to get
Her
it back.
beautiful self.
Oh man, she was awesome. That just touched me though. So I love baby girls and their daddies.
Yes.
Shocker.
Right.
Wonder why. Cousin Steph says, cousin Terry, I'm sorry, says, I agree with Steph and John. Ronaldo says, note Will Smith let a grown man spit in his face on a movie set and wasn't part of the script and didn't do a damn thing. Let me see, read the rest of it. Didn't do a damn thing. Will not going to touch Chris again, regardless of what he says Saturday night. Cousin Tony says, you make your bed hard, you have to lay in it. Chris opened the door for another butt whipping. And Star Justice comes back and says, best dad in the world with 3 hearts. Such a sweetheart. Ronaldo says, Will effed up his I would have just typed fuck Ronaldo. Effed up his own image by slapping another black man in the Oscars in front of the whole world. All right, so my turn. Here's what I think. I think that Chris took a huge step backwards the other night. I had always put Chris in this higher echelon of intelligent humor. And, I cuss a lot. Like, I restrain myself, often. So I wasn't really taken aback by how much vulgarity he used, but it was noticeable.
The N-word was very noticeable to me.
More so than normal. Like, he just kept on saying it and saying. Hey, look, I'm not the language police. That's not what I'm getting at here. But it was a lot. It was more than normal. At least it felt like it was. Some of the jokes, while they may be funny, were unnecessary. Like the whole detour into the transgender area was. If you had done that and it was funny, then maybe I would have rocked with you, because I understand the whole everybody is fair game with it, and we live in a culture where, you can't tell jokes about homosexuals or anybody in the LGBTQ community because you will get canceled. And the whole woke stuff he was talking about, I understood it. I didn't think all of that was funny, but I understood what he was trying to do with all of that. Because it's like, come on, man. Like, if this community can take a joke and that community can take a joke, then this community should be able to as well, as long as it's not mean spirited. I didn't think any of the jokes he did on the transgenders were mean spirited. I just thought they were improperly placed for the setting and just not funny.
Right.
It just wasn't funny. So there's that part. As far as and he did mess up the joke. We don't need to get we that joke was good, and I saw him go
He
back and
messed up
retell it.
tried to
He
retell
went back and retold it, and the joke was funny. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I like how he ended it. We did this in front of white people. I don't live
He
my
says
life.
an N-word happily in front of white people.
This
Please,
this
he's
is
not
this,
thinking.
right. I liked how that ended because I was kind of thinking it, but then I had to remind myself of who I am for real. Like, I don't walk around worrying about these people. Like, we grew up hearing that. So that's why it was funny in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, we keep certain stuff in the house. I don't be talking like that in front of these wife. Like, we grew up like that. So in context, it could have been funny and it was a good way to end it. But as I've gotten older, the less that kind of joke is funny to me.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I'll say before I give it back to the floor, well, I'll give it back to the floor after I read these comments. It's like, come on, man. We talking about this happened a year ago. Now, I get, this happened to me in front of everybody. You're going to pay to hear my response. There's something to be said for that.
There is.
There's something to be said for you. I'm going to make you wait a whole year, and then I'm going to make
And
sure
Netflix paid.
and I'm gonna make sure that y'all pay me to get my response. Something to be said for that. But then if you're gonna do all that, then actually say something. Like, actually say something. Like, you made yourself seem like a punk by coming for him so hard verbally after all of this time. What I would have liked to see, because I am someone who loves Chris, and I'm not coming for Chris. I'm just giving my honest critique of what I heard. I love Chris and I love Will. And when that went down, I was conflicted because y'all remember I came in, I was conflicted by it because I understood I certainly wasn't team Will for the slap, but I understood the anger. But I also remember he didn't come after the dude that was smashing his wife. He ain't smack him.
Because I don't think. Okay, go ahead.
But in context.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You come for the dude that made the joke. You came for the dude that's in jest making jokes. You ain't come for the people who really, really, really upset you. You came for the dude that made a joke about it. You got clowned, you got mad, so you reacted. All of us know what that feels. It's like falling off your bike, and the first dude that laughed loud, you get up off the ground and you punch him in his face. That's what you did. So you kind of whack for that to me, Will. But Chris, where you whack is you waited a year to call him a bitch. You could have done that the next day. You could have done that on Twitter the next day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't think that the way he did it was worth all of this time that has passed. Because what I would have loved to see, especially now that we are seeing Will on this apology tour, and you can say what you want. I'm not arguing with nobody about this next piece. I'm going to say, the listeners, you guys, whomever, I'm not arguing about this next piece. Will is contrite. He feels bad about what he did.
He does.
He does. If you disagree with me, fine. I'll let you say your piece, but I'm not going to argue with you about it. I know what I know about what I see in that man. That's a good man who had a bad day, who snapped and did something really stupid that's going to be with him for the rest of his career. I don't feel sorry for him about that. That part is what it is, but it is what it is. So what I would have loved to see was Chris take the high road, bring Will out. Y'all have a conversation right there on Netflix. Imagine how powerful it would have been for the world to see two black men with smoke dissipate the smoke. Right there on the spot, squash it. Now what y'all gonna say? What y'all gonna say about me now? Because we love to see black men fighting with each other. We come on the show, we go on other shows, we go in the world, we go on Facebook, go everywhere, and we talk about how we need to stick together. We need to forgive each other. We need to do this, we need to do that. And then we see a situation that's primed for something like that. And instead of taking the high road, like many of us have chosen to do, you went and told a bunch of lame jokes and called him a bitch. And you spent more time in the stuff we spent the last year in. Like, so, like, you are a brilliant, gifted comic, Chris.
Very intelligent.
Brilliant and gifted. But you basically spent 45 minutes of your hour telling lame jokes and coming for a dude a year after you should have made your point. Ain't no how Step Marcus, J Live from NewDen, Legacy in their radio. Let's get some of these comments in. And it's a lot. I'm going to read them. And then, John, I know you want to get in. We're going to go around this one more time if you choose to. Then we're going to move on to our next topic. As a black man from North Philadelphia, the queen is correct. Chris has heard how Will talks off camera. Believe me. Brother Mike is saying all three of y'all said so many things that I agree with. So glad I popped in tonight to hear your comments. Won't be watching the whole show because it's Monday Night Raw tonight. Mark is so proud of you and your people with what you put out there. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it. Mike is an actor. You will see him on a lot of shows, you know, as an extra, and he's pretty soon going to be starting to get in verbal parts. So pretty soon we might be seeing Mike standing alongside Chris or Will in these movies. So peace to you, Mike, and so much love for you, brother. And I'm so glad to have you part of the family. And I know that John Cena is making his long-awaited return to Monday Night Raw. It's been many months since Cena's been on there. But I need you to be listening to us instead. Ain't no hashtag
you
Marcus
can watch
J.
that on mute.
Yeah, right. How about that? Peace, Bolo. Bolo is saying it was intelligent. He was hurt by getting smacked on TV in front of the whole world by a brother. He took a whole year, invented out. You have to give it to him. Actually, I ain't gotta give it to him, but I respect what you're saying and I understand why you say it. Ronaldo says, Marcus, you just gave the perfect example of why Will a whole hole for what he did. I already said I'm not going back and forth on this one. I don't agree with that, obviously. So if you want to make it plain, then make it plain. But I'm not going to address that because I just don't know what point you are trying to make by that. So I can do it. We can go back and forth, but more specifically, where your comment is coming from, I just a whole hole for
How
that.
did you justify it?
Yeah, right. I mean, he's been contrite. He said he was sorry
more than once.
More than once, and that's the other thing. You know, I get frustrated at us because we want to see people show contrition, and then when we do, we call them a whole hoe. like you can't win.
We really can't win.
You can't
Black
win.
folk can.
Yeah, you can't win. So, John,
I'll wait for you. John.
Yeah, go ahead, John. Jump in.
I think that again, like I said, what Will did wasn't right, and I never thought it was right. It's the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong place to do it. Full stop on that. My whole comment was that right now, if he did it again, well, Chris bad. You know what I'm saying? The joke he told wasn't what motivated the slap, to be honest with you. It was over time. It was different shit that motivated the slap. And it had to do with, I believe it had to do with the condition of their relationship at the time and how he felt as a man, how she felt about him as her husband, and so on and so forth. And that was just, it was a perfect storm of things that led to the slap. I don't think it was the joke itself, because the joke, one, wasn't that funny, and it wasn't that mean spirited. It was like, G.I. Jane joke. Why? Because the girl in G.I. Jane had a shaved head. He didn't know she had alopecia or whatever, and it wasn't about that. It was about her being there and looking good with a shaved head. But if anybody ever seen G.I. Jane, that's what it looked like, So it was just not a funny joke, but I don't think he was trying to tear her down or put her under the ground with the joke. Our thing is whether or not he was a bitch ass for doing that, for slapping him, whatever. As men, I'm gonna get on some toxic masculinity shit.
Let me pause you right there because I want to respond to Reynaldo in real time. I owe you a bit of an apology because I kind of came at you a little bit strong, Reynaldo. He's saying that he's talking about the part about how he did not respond to the dude who smashed his wife, not the overall response to Chris Rock. So that's my apologies, brother. I took your comment wrong, and that's why I said make it plain. And when you made it plain, I received that. I absolutely received that. So thank you. Peace to my brother, Robert Ralston, all the way out there from Arizona is checking us out. So mote it be, my brother. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. And cousin Tony says, does anyone else wonder if Will would have reacted like that if Jada had not been there? That's a very fair question.
Yeah, but
John,
see, that's kind of where I'm going with it. See,
continue your point.
as men, right? Chris has to, as he stands up and tells his jokes, whatever they may be, accept the responsibility of consequences and repercussions. Right. Just like if you listen, I'm from Brooklyn. My cornbread is going to be consequences. He got to understand. You tell jokes, somebody might not like it, and somebody might slap you in the face because that's just what it is. It had happened to him. You have been fortunate, but lots of comics have been rushed on stage before Chris, and it just wasn't done by one of the who was one of the top actors in the world at the time. So that was the issue. My issue is now not with the whole incident because I mean, like I said, Will shouldn't have did it in that way. It was just a bad reflection, a poor character choice, and I think part of you mentioned his character that came into question. I think a lot of it has to do with his wife. I mean, we are as men, our women, when they are a big part of our lives, have a lot of control and influence over the way we act and respond. Right? I tell women all the time, you could take a man and make him in it, whatever you want to make him into, if he believes you, right? And if you tell him he's great, he's gonna be great. You tell him he ain't nothing, he's gonna continue not to be anything. So it's like that situation was, I believe that her looking at him, her being there, the situation. I'm not saying it was 100%, but I think it was a contribution. And again, like I said, right now at this time, the way he responded, he could have did that one joke about her. He could have brought her into it real easy. She wanted me not to host because he didn't get nominated for concussion, and because I told a joke, he gave me a concussion. But ended it, boom bop, and went on with the rest of your jokes that wasn't that funny. But to go into calling out a name, calling him names, doing all that, it's like, oh, I've been working out. I took a little Tabo and I'm ready to fight you now. Because that's the translation to people.
Jump in, Step.
I want to say one thing. I absolutely disagree with lobbing every bit of accountability and responsibility on the Black woman to change the Black man. We from the perspective of, if you tell him who he can be, he will be it, and that would be great. That would be phenomenal. But that also is the antithesis of the exact problem we have, where we, when we do date the wrong guy and then try to fix him up, we get beat up for that. So I just want to remove that accountability that, Black women are supposed to be the magic pill to all the bad behaviors. If your mama couldn't fix it, I likely cannot. I can tell you as dope as I want you to be, but if you don't know how to pay bills, if you don't know how to be responsible, if you weren't trained that way, I didn't suckle you at my breast, bro. Not for that. No, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying that
floor basics is floor basics.
But floor basics are what ruin
ladies.
Us
don't
when we are
don't get with a guy who can't pay bills.
Okay, and don't think you can change him. Please make that clear.
No. You can listen.
He ain't there.
You can make a good man better.
A good man, right? He already got to have.
You're not fixing Fred.
All right, so I'm gonna put.
So I want to finish your
point, and then I'm gonna put the final word on it.
I do think there's a very interesting element that Black people really struggle with, and I listened to the Red Table Talk between these two people who told us their truths, and every Black person I know, minus the ones who have a broader mind as it relates to relationships, walked away with, she cheated on him. That is not what was said. They both had an open perspective to their marriage. Did she like who he picked? Was it her intention to go that route? No, that's where things went off course. But everyone takes it from a perspective of, oh, well, she cheated on him. No, they very clearly state that they had these parameters that we as Black people are often very uncomfortable with, whether it's polyamory or open relationships or so on and so forth. I'm saying that to say, I do not think, sometimes you got to take people at face value. And I do not think that he got up there because he was mad about her cheating with August Alsina, because they clearly stated the reason we're able to have this conversation is because of the status of our relationship and because of what we allowed and where we stood with one another. Now, it went too deep, and I did not like that it went too deep, but we really struggle with accepting that he said that he's not a simp for he and his wife establishing certain parameters around their relationship. It's just easier for us to believe because as Black people, we who tend to have lots of infidelity going on in our community, we struggle with the idea that these were two people who had open parameters in their Hollywood marriage. It went in a direction he didn't like. But I do not think that night was about that. I think that night was about the many times, because he has been joking about her since 91. The many times that he has made jokes about her. He made jokes about her when she wasn't at the Oscars. I think she already had a beef with him. He walked out on stage and it's like, oh, this N-word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it went from there. But I think this desire to paint this about August Alsina, that's what his desire is. That's what the greater community likes to see, because we really struggle with things when they don't look traditional. But I do not think that was where those two people were coming from that night.
Ain't no half step Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. We're getting some love from Legacy Internet Radio alumni. The coach, Sean Mears, is checking us out. Twi After Dark. Peace to you and Lolo.
Okay.
And Bella. Key Lolo and Bella. Thank you, coach, for checking us out. We so proud of you, bro. Holla at me. I need to holler at you. Ain't no half step Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. Looking for just a quick response from both of you on a question I'm going to ask you. No explanation, just a response to the question as I come around, and then we're going to move on. Steph, you up first. The Chris Rock special on Saturday night, holistically, was expected to be a response to what happened at the Oscars. Obviously, we already established that. So, was this a knockout blow or a love tap?
I think it was a love tap.
John?
I think it was a full miss. Swung at the air.
You know John can't.
He swung at the air.
I asked you,
You know he
if
can't.
it was a knockout blow or a love tap, and I didn't want to go around, and now you making me go around with you, man. Can you tell me?
Do you know this man?
I know him. Like he
You
said,
know,
like he told
y'all
you
hang out
earlier, we
all the
hang
time.
out.
You
I
already
know. Can you answer the question, man? Please.
Let me sip my drink.
Please.
Because you're going to corral me, it was a love tap.
Thank you.
Yes.
And this is a unanimous
That holy
decision. This is a unanimous decision. Obviously, I think it was a love tap. He had an opportunity to knock Will Cole out or to embrace him.
Yeah.
And it was, to address what John literally said. You're right. It was a whole miss, and you just, it was a fail. And
I like your
I wish.
suggestion better, Marcus.
What was it?
I do think that it
He
would
should
have
have brought
been.
him out.
I think they should have had one of those things. You get a moderator. Hell, get the career cheerleader. Get a moderator.
Oh man, how great would that be?
Wouldn't that be
You know,
great?
she didn't know anyway.
She already know that.
Yeah.
You get 2 chairs. You sit them on the stage. You moderate this, and you let them go back and forth, and then you get into deeper discussion. Your point was that would have been masterful.
Chris comes out. If he had done that, he comes out. This is as pro wrestling fans. This is where you get a rub. With that basically,
oh my God,
you get a rub. This is basically
bringing up the terms.
Yeah, this is when you have the villain will turn babyface right in front of you, and the guy that he's fighting
is like,
going to elevate as well.
Yes.
And for those wrestling fans, think about Bret Hart when he put over Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he didn't put him over. Bret Hart wins the match, and he makes Stone Cold quit.
Yes.
But Stone Cold is elevated in that match.
Yes.
This is what could have happened. You could lose but still win, and they both failed. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. My sister Melinda is checking us out. I love you, girl. You just living your best life on airplanes and doing all kinds of cool stuff. And every time I see your pictures, I say, yes.
Take me with.
Yes.
Take me with.
Yes. You got the joyous look, all about the eyeballs, and it just makes your brother happy.
The question is she married?
Yeah, I love it. She's not. And
there you go.
She's not. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. All right. So let us move on. So if you're watching the scroll, because I got toys, y'all, and I'm trying to like get used to how I got all this technology on the screen and stuff that I never used before, because I'm totally not good at this.
Don't say that because
but
Gen
I'm
X
getting
is good at it.
better.
We don't want them thinking we not.
I'm getting better though. I am. I promise you, I'm getting better. But the next thing that we're going to talk about, as you can obviously see on the screen, we're going to talk about load management in the National Basketball Association. What is load management? What does that mean? I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all. I am one of those people who feels that load management is whack as hell. Let me give you my feeling before I give you what it means. This means that you live in, let's say you live in Atlanta. You live in Atlanta, right? And I know whenever I go to Atlanta and I see the New York Knicks, because I've seen the Knicks in Atlanta more than in the last few years, more than I've seen them in New York. Just I like to go to Atlanta, and whenever I go there, I watch that building blow its top off with Knicks fans. We travel.
It really is crazy.
We travel. The Knicks travel very well to certain cities, Atlanta in particular. You would
half
argue
the population is New York.
Exactly. Like we played Miami on Friday night. And in Miami, there were Knicks jerseys, and you could hear the "Let's Go Knicks" chants right there in Miami. That's like, wow, that's crazy. That's dope, right? Say again.
Remember we went to the Mariners game
in Miami.
Marlins?
We went to see when John and I, last summer we went to see in summer of 21 when we went to see the Yankees in Miami, and the Yankees
we were the stadium.
The Yankees had their building, right? So that's what I'm talking about, right? Imagine me getting on an airplane from Richmond, Virginia, to go to Atlanta to see the New York Knicks in Atlanta, along with the other Atlanta fans. And we're excited to see Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson. I tell you what, let's not even make it the Knicks, because that's too personal.
Let's
make it the Lakers.
Yeah.
When you get to see LeBron James. At the time, maybe a few months ago, you might have got to see Russell Westbrook before he was traded and ended up with the Clippers, or AD, right? And you paid your money for your tickets, you get there, but LeBron's not playing tonight. Is he hurt? Nah, he's not hurt. It's load management. And then you ask yourself, what the fuck is load management? Load management is when the coaching staff, the team, the player, whoever the decision makers are, they decide that said player will not play tonight because maybe he played a back-to-back last night, and we're trying to preserve him so that he doesn't break down later in the season. Load management. There ain't nothing wrong with him. He doesn't have any injuries that we know of now. We're just trying to preserve him so he doesn't get hurt later in the season. Clearly, I got a problem with that. Obviously, I got a problem when I'm looking at the family of four that just spent $500 just to get in the building, and you haven't eaten yet. Yeah, yes. I got a problem with that. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about you 25 years old. LeBron's 38. I know he's 38. I'm just talking in general. Damn. 25 years old. You can't play 4 nights a week. You can't play the second night of a back-to-back. You 25 years old making $25 million. You can't play 4 nights a week? Really? Really? You need load management to make sure that you don't break down? Come on, man. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I had this conversation with Pops, 2 nights ago. We sat on the couch together in New Jersey, and we had this conversation, and he told me, make sure you tell him that. So I'm telling him. Pop disagrees with me. Pop thinks that load management is okay. He thinks it's okay because the whole preservation of the player, and it's up to the player, and is as far as he knows his body and all those things. I can dig it. Disagree. I disagree with Pops, and I disagree with anybody who's got a counterpoint. And this is one that I got time. So if we debating this, let's get it. Because anybody that knows me knows that I didn't care too much for the guy that wore number 45 for the Chicago Bulls in the 1995 season. Shade.
I already know why.
Shade. That's shade. If you don't know who it is, look it up. But that same dude played for the Washington Wizards. And at 40 years old, he played 82 games. 40. He played every game. You can play every game at 40. but you need load management at 25.
What do you average?
We
Like
talking about
24 games?
22 a game, 22 points. He's 40, and obviously I'm talking about Michael Jordan. 22 points a game or somewhere around that at 40.
Yes.
Playing 82 games, whereas last season was shortened with knee trouble. So your knees ain't getting better as you get older. But he played 82 games, y'all. So let's get it. John, you up first. How do you feel about load management?
I don't watch NBA because of stuff like that right now. It's unrecognizable as basketball to me. It's like it's a lot. Most of the major sports are leaning more towards professional wrestling than true competition. The way that the leagues, and the people in charge and the participants, the players shape the games now to be more entertaining than to be competitive, right? So they'd rather a team. It seems like the idea of the team in the city winning takes a back seat to, scoring over 100 points in basketball, or a big flashy play, a cell phone moment or repost or whatever. The L's and the W's have taken a significant back seat. And with that being said, yeah, stuff like load management. I'll put you like this. In 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever, in the 90s, in the late 80s and 90s, right? They had a team doctor and a couple of, health people with the whole team that traveled with the team. And that was it. And most of the starting players played, if not all the games, the majority. They might have missed a couple unless it was a serious injury in the hospital, right? Nowadays, in recent times, the players come into the league with their own medical staff. They have a doctor. They have their individual doctor. They have a trainer. They have a strength and conditioning coach. They got a sports psychologist who they talk to about their feelings. They get chiropractor. They stretch. They do all of this stuff. They do hot yoga, right? And they got a whole team. They got a whole team on the team. The team's medical people have their own bus and traveling. It's gotten to that point to where they take care of these people in such a way. And it seems to me that it's not helping. It's making it worse. Like these people, I'm sorry to say, they soft. They soft.
Y'all might disagree
I'm glad that you said that.
They listen. They soft.
Let me get some comments in here because they're agreeing.
I want to say one more thing, but go ahead. Get the comment. And
I want to get in the anime.
Okay, I'm gonna get these comments. John, make your last point. Then Steph, you got it. Thin Man, Antonio.
I still can't get him shirtless on the stage out of my mind.
Oh my goodness.
It's the first thing that comes up.
He says, yo, and I can hear him saying it. Ronaldo says, if nobody doesn't appreciate wrestling references, he does. Stone Cold passed out as a heel and became a face the next night on TV. That's real talk. Point. That's the point that I was making. And the fact that you understand and you get it, Ronaldo, thank you, brother. Thank you. The OG is checking us out. One of the greatest men I know, the founder of 101 The Fan. My brother Tech is checking us out. He's talking about what I said about load management. He says, I want a refund.
I mean, you show up for the game. Yeah, I mean, you feel that way, right?
My brother Aubrey, Jersey City, stand up. I would think that the athletes today are better conditioned than the athletes from the 80s and 90s. So that management is BS. Ronaldo says, Marcus, you are not dealing with the same type of athlete from the 90s. Aubrey says, on top of that, the game was a lot more physical back then. Cousin Tony says, and it'd be the jokers getting gazillions to play. I spend my hard-earned dollars for good seat and want to see everybody. Let's see. My man Kevin, Kevin, I appreciate you, brother. I know you get the wrestling references. He said they don't know the old school rules, playing 80, 82 games. New generation is soft as cotton. Bolo says soft. She done checked in, y'all.
Uh-oh.
She done checked in,
Here we
y'all.
go.
Hey, boo,
So
how
here we
you?
go. So you know why I sent the team a picture before we give it to her, right? I sent the
Yeah.
team a picture from 2014. 2014 on Facebook. This person was giving me love. This person been giving me love since 1993, but this person has always supported me in everything that I've done, and that's why when she checks in, we give her special treatment, which she will always get. And so we're gonna look into the camera together and give her her special treatment as we say, "Good morning, Sue." Yeah, you know
I
how
love
Steppin.
Sue.
Oh, I love
I'm
her too.
jealous you were hanging
I
out
got to
with
hang
her.
out with Sue like 2 weeks ago.
Come
Yo,
on now.
I saw Sue.
All you had to
did.
do was be like, I'm coming by. We going to Sue.
Maybe,
Hmm.
maybe she my
No,
Sue.
he don't want to share you.
She my Sue.
I
Yeah,
love it.
thank you, Sue. Love you, girl. John, finish your point, my brother. Finish your point. Then we're gonna give it to Steph, and then we're gonna get out of it. I said all I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
they,
on it.
the
We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about John Morant next.
listen,
Ah.
the players and their talents are not the subject matter. It's the idea that these people don't have the competitive edge or desire, and they get reward again. They get it's the trophy situation. They get paid to show up. Jordan made a reference one time when he was asking him about endorsements, and he was like, "Yeah, these kids are getting money before they even took one step in the NBA. Before one step, they already got $20 million endorsement. We don't even know whether or not they're gonna be any good. You don't know until you play in the league whether or not you league material. So why before you get into the league, you getting a $20 million contract to be in a sneaker contract, and you're gonna play 5 games? I think it's crazy. Nobody cares about winning, and I don't. This is why I don't watch.
Ain't no half step. Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and Radio. Steph, I want you to take the final word on this topic before we move on to John Morant. But before we do that, Ernest Porter asked a question. We're not going to answer it because when we hear the question, it's one of those point well taken type questions. Ernest, thank you, bro. This is spot on. Does anyone think that AD Anthony Davis of the Lakers? Anyone think that AD could take the Karl Malone elbow on Isaiah Thomas and continue to play? Does anyone remember Isaiah Thomas playing in the finals on a bad ankle and ending up the MVP?
Yeah.
On a bad ankle. He couldn't walk, but he
can't
played.
remember who it was that broke his neck and played in a neck brace the next night. It was a Celtic. I'll remember.
Sound like Kevin McHale.
No, it was a black dude.
Yeah.
It was definitely a black dude. I
Yeah.
remember watching that game. My uncle Rondi, shout out, was a Boston fan, and I remember the guy having a neck brace, and I was young enough to think that's crazy.
So take your final trip around the path of this topic, Steph,
So when
before we move on
when
to
you
John Morant.
introduced this in our private conversation, and we said we wouldn't talk about it till radio, I was like, let me go do my homework. And so the first thing I saw, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Knicks fan, the Knicks have been the only team to reject load management, and the majority of their players have played.
And now that you mentioned the Knicks, and I'm not going to steal your thunder, I'm going to just say this. Did you hear what Julius Randle had to say about this very topic? And I wasn't going to bring this up.
It's not a them issue.
I'm not going to bring this up. I wasn't going to bring this up. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Tie into my point.
But Julius Randle of the New York Knicks, who has the second most minutes played this season, who was just announced as the player of the week for last week, who is an all-star this year, who participated in the who participated in the 3-point contest. Julius Randle. Like, I don't want to hear no crap about Julius Randle. He's an all-star. That's all I ask for. Play hard and be an all-star on the Knicks. You be the best player. And you throw all the shades you want. That's who we talking about. And this man basically was like, I don't get it. You know, I listen to my body. My body says play. I play.
He did say that. He also said some additional things. But before I get into my final point, I pulled this up because I saved it looking at it. Zion played last 4 years now. This is 4 years cumulative. Zion played 39.4% of his possible games. These are all percentage of possible games. Durant 48.3, Kawhi 52.1, Kyrie 52, and AD 62.9. That's a huge problem. It's hugely problematic. However, I started doing my homework because I was like, the NBA wants to make money, and when I say the NBA, I'm not talking about the individual coaches. I'm talking about ownership. I'm talking about management, leadership. I'm talking about top level people. So load management can't be happening without them wanting that to be happening. It had to be. So I'm doing my research, and I find an article from 2019 that talks about why load management was introduced, and it was introduced because of how hard the kids are pushed in AAU. And they talk about Zion as a huge example of that. That when he came in, his body was already so broken down because of how many games these kids are playing in AAU to make it to the NBA, that the NBA teams then started saying, how do we manage it so we get the very best or the most out of these individuals? So it's interesting to me that the NBA as an organization is functioning like every corporation out there. They are functioning in a way that allows you to point your finger at the individuals playing the game. But the truth of the matter is, the NBA introduced this. This was not introduced by the players. The players didn't decide, oh, I don't want to play all my games and this, that, and the other. They introduced it as a way to preserve bodies that they were bringing in that were already broken down. And this article, and I'll send it to both of you, because it's very interesting, lists not only Zion, but tons of kids coming out of AAU that already were spending 60% of their AAU seasons wrapped up, wearing braces, spending time on the sidelines, trying to manage what was happening with the physical breakdown of their bodies. Nobody is a machine. No one is a machine. I don't care how, if someone was a machine, we could go back and say, well, NFL players played 99% of their games. Yes, and they were dying with CTE and we didn't know about it. I think it's impossible for someone to play this many games. I do. I think at some point, the body is going to speak to you. But if your body isn't, go play. You need to show up and earn that money. What's problematic is that we are looking at the players, and the NBA has found a way to hide as an organization that this was their system. They implemented this, not the players. We all know these players don't have as much control as you would like to think they do. They are employees. Which one of you can decide what days you want to work or not? And you don't make millions of dollars. So if you believe that someone that is making $72 million is allowed to go in and say, hey, yeah, look, I'm not playing today, you're crazy. That's not what's happening. There is no white man, and I'm saying this because all white men own these leagues and own these teams. There's no white man that's going to give a black man 60-70 million dollars. I don't care what kind of talent he has, and tell him, I'm giving this to you so you can do 50% of the work we needed you to do. This was implemented by the NBA. So if you really have an issue with it, and I'm speaking specifically about people like Charles Barkley, because some of these old players, they're giving jealous. They're giving, I didn't make that much. They're giving, I'm pissed. Guess what? The dollar's worth more. People are paying more. The job, the trash man from 1989 and 79 is not making what the sanitation worker in New York is making in 2023. This is just the way it is. So step back from the number for a minute and acknowledge that the organization has created this. But not only has the organization created this, they've created this because we are now pushing children at 9 and 10 years old to play weekend after weekend of AAU and all week long. And I'm speaking as a mom who had a kid in all-star cheerleading, where these girls are being dropped on their head. They're getting back injuries, and coaches are like, can you do it next weekend?
Yeah.
Can you be at practice? So I know this happens.
Yeah.
I know this happens as a mom. I watched my daughter go through what Simone Biles was doing, where she was struggling to tumble. I watched my daughter. And when I tell you, we were talking about hypnosis, we were bribing her, we were doing everything because we needed her on that floor. That's what's happening. So you can't address this problem without going to the root cause. And I think the NBA as an organization has done a masterful corporate job of protecting themselves and making it look like it's the players choosing this. They are not.
Yeah, no, I can dig it. Yeah, the only thing that I'll say is I want to address the Charles Barkley comment. I agree with Charles, and Charles's comments is what sparked us talking about this. Because of the nature of our show, we don't have a lot of time to give to certain topics that we
Sure.
quickly do our hits in them, and then we get out of them. We move on to other stuff. This is certainly one that deserves more time that we're not going to give it, but it absolutely deserves more time because I received what you're saying. It hadn't dawned on me to think about the fact that these 25-year-olds were the 10-year-olds in AAU, whereas Charles Barkley's generation didn't
do
start.
what
And
he
Charles
knew.
would tell you that he didn't even play basketball until he was in high school. And so there's something to be said. There's less miles on your legs, and
Zion was
things
a
of that
mess
sort.
when he came in.
Things of that sort. But having said all that and understanding all of that, and pulling the money out, I'm just not okay with. It's not even coming from the fan perspective. Like, I made the analogy, and John, I think you mentioned it as well, about how we have people who spend so much money as fans to go and watch the game. Like, yeah, that's the thing for me, but it's really like you 25, you can't play 4 nights a week.
I agree.
Like, as a baseball
too.
fan, it's I remember Cal Ripken played 2,100 games in a row. That's 12 or 13 years. He didn't miss a game. They
Do
play
you remember Clifford
162.
Robinson? Portland Trail
Yeah,
Blazers?
Cliff Robinson, yeah.
Every season, all 82 games, every season.
And so
that he
they
ever
and so
was
they
in.
AC Green didn't miss games. So when I see that, like, and when I see the Yankees, and I know that Aaron Judge has injury history, but when I see the Yankees have a day off on a Thursday, so they give him Wednesday off, so you can have 2 straight games. Like, really, really, really. So it just annoys me. Ain't no how Steph Marks, J Live from NewDen, Legacy in that radio. We figured it out in the studio. We didn't say it out loud, but thank you, Ernest, for letting us know that it was Gerald Henderson who played with that neck brace. My cousin Baloo, what's up, brother? He says salute to the chaps. Good to see you over the weekend. Always good to see you, brother. I got to put my arms around you, cousin. Love you, Jones family. Stand up. I'm saying peace to my uncle Rudy and my aunt Tony that's checking us out. They saying welcome back. Peace to you, Auntie. Thank you. And our brother Aubrey says, I apologize for not knowing the sister's name. But what she just said sounds like load management is a way to protect your
investment.
Yeah, he says ROI.
Yep, return on your investment.
Return. There you go. I didn't know. I didn't get the analogy.
Return on investment.
Yeah, so I can. Yeah, I guess I'm not a financial.
And that's
genius.
exactly. No, that's
But
exactly
I didn't know
what the NBA is doing.
I didn't know the analogy. Before you make this point, man, let me introduce Ja Morant. You make sure you get your comment in and try to mix it because I'm managing the time here. So hold on to it. Hold on to that and mix it into your John Morant comment because we are keeping with the NBA. Memphis Grizzlies point guard John Morant, and I'm getting this in part from ESPN. He will not play for at least the next 2 games. It has nothing to do with load management and everything to do with
loaded management.
Being stupid, not with a U, but with at least 2 O's, maybe 3 O's, maybe 5 O's. Stupid.
Brooklyn Brownstone.
Stupid. Like 49. What number is on his jersey? Whatever number's on his jersey, that's how many. That's how many O's in stupid for John Morant. He displayed what appeared to be a gun while at a nightclub early Saturday morning, which has now prompted an investigation by the National Basketball Association. The Memphis Grizzlies, his team, Saturday afternoon, they announced that Morant, quote, will be away from the team for at least the next 2 games, end quote, meaning he will not play Sunday against the Clippers, which was yesterday, or Tuesday against the Lakers. Quote, we are aware of a social media post involving John Morant. We are investigating. Last piece I'll get into so that we can get it fully introduced. John Morant began his Instagram live session at 5:19 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Really? The sun ain't even up.
Nothing happens good.
Colin Cowherd was the first person I heard say that nothing happens good between midnight and 6 a.m.
Yes.
I'm sure others have said it, but he was the first that I heard say it.
ain't nothing good open after midnight.
except legs. Yeah.
So stay in the house. You ain't
that's
supposed to be out.
that's just me being that's just me being a horny middle-aged dude.
Well, an old lady told me that.
who know she was a
An
she was
old
a horny
lady
old
told
lady,
me.
right? So he begins his yeah.
Motivation for the ATM.
There you go, right? Yeah, how about that? He says,
The
yeah,
city never sleeps. City Bank. for
Yeah.
that
Welcome
reason.
back. Welcome
John
back.
Morant, he did this post at 5:19 in the morning, where he could be seen shirtless and rapping along with the music, and could be seen holding up a handgun with his left hand. And predictably, Morant deactivated both his Instagram and Twitter accounts Saturday afternoon.
What an idiot.
Here go my favorite part, John, Steph. In a statement, Morant says he, quote, what does he do? Take a guess. What does he say? In a statement. I just want to see if
Did he say he's going to take a step and rethink some of his behaviors and get some help or anything?
takes
'Cause that's
full
kind of the
responsibility
standard.
for my actions last night. See, it's a script. We know you got good PR
So nothing
people.
about stepping back and thinking about
Like,
it. None of
really,
that.
like you got good PR people who are helping you with this. And so I call bullshit. I call nonsense. Mike is still listening. He's watching us on split screen with Monday Night Raw.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thank you, brother.
I'm mad I'm missing John Cena too, but
Hey,
it's
look,
not better than being
hey, look, John Cena might be on the final segment before they
But
go
guess
at
what?
11
Peacock
o'clock. So
replays
you got
it.
some time.
Look,
Peacock replays
just
it.
because you watching John Cena don't mean you can't
See
see
ya.
us.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Get me some on that.
Yeah, John with the wrestling reference.
We should not
Come
like
on,
wrestling this
man.
much.
Come on,
I'm really
John.
embarrassed that I
John,
like it this
you
much.
did the thing just now, man. I see you, man.
Thank you, John. That was
Thank you,
spot
man.
on.
That was perfect. Anyway,
Oh,
I guess I
God.
should read his comment other
Please
than
do.
just being
Please
excited
do,
that
'cause
he's
we
still
were-
here.
we were hyped.
The word I would use is stupid. Dumb and stupid. He's
You so stupid.
You so stupid. Mike, that's you just coined
You
a new
so
phrase.
stupid, you couldn't get stupid, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Imagine if it was Cole, you stupid. Yeah, right. Aubrey says, I don't know what his life was like before the NBA,
Please, this man got
but
two
I give a
parents.
middle finger on left hand to this position other than the thoughts of these decisions. I could think, like, for real, like, you make millions and millions and millions of dollars as one of the prominent faces in the NBA, and you going backwards, bruh. Like, for real, like, these are the things that people who don't have something to look forward to do. Like, I just you think
got
that it's
nothing
cool.
to lose.
You got
You're
nothing to
like, all right.
lose, and you think it's cool to brandish a weapon on Instagram.
This is young
You don't
thug
even
stuff.
think about, John. I guess I'm getting my shit in now,
Do
and
it,
then
bro.
you're gonna get the con because you want to make a comment on the last segment of this, so you're gonna get it. In the interest of time, I'm gonna say this real quick, and then you guys do this, and then we're gonna move on because the next thing we're gonna talk about is Green Talk, and then we're gonna finish the show before the rants with Stephanie. So that's why I'm kind of rushing us through, and it's quarter past our second hour. You are someone that's rich. Rich people don't do poor people shit. At least you shouldn't. Because poor people do the stupid thing, thank you, Mike, that go online and show off your money that ain't yours, show off your weapons that you ain't using, and show off the cars that you rented. You know, all of those kinds of things. But all of those things are yours. And you should be wealthy enough to have people that will brandish the gun for you, Mr. Stupid. Like, I always would give homage to Warren Ballantyne, the number one true fighter, my radio mentor, who would always say that these athletes and rappers and young people with a lot of money and influence should get themselves a Tom. What does that mean? He's referring to the Godfather.
Yes.
He's referring to Tom Hagen, the
Tom
Robert
Hagen.
Duvall character, whose sole job it was
Keep
to
him in
keep the
line.
Corleone family in
In
line.
line.
That's
That's
all
right.
his job was. And
It's
the
a
only
handler.
person that I know, a handler, the only person in the NBA that I know that has openly done it. Now, I'm not saying nobody else has done it because I'm convinced that a lot of them have done it. But the only one who has openly done it is LeBron James. He put on his whole crew. He put his whole crew through college. Don't you think that all them cats
Wow, I didn't know
know
that.
he put his whole crew through college? The kids that he came up with, they all, and they agents and all kinds of stuff. It's great.
Wow.
And He got himself a
That's how you
Tom.
handle
That's
it.
how you handle it. John, you got the con.
Good point.
The
At you being
I
on it.
does that shit. I
Mm,
does
the
that
the
shit.
the
I does it.
the NBA with load management, yeah, it was their idea, but my whole thing about it is play to win, and nobody's playing to win anymore, and that's why I can't deal with the sports. And it's not exclusive to basketball. All of it's wrestling to me. I mean, I can't even think about half the NFL shit that happened last season with calls. Like, come on, for real? Calls that got missed or missing? Come on, you ain't missed that fucking call. You know what it was. It was Vegas. Vegas called, and the ref made the call for the Vegas for people not to get paid. I mean, it's what it is, and people know it, but they act like they don't see it. And it's not about competition. Now, John Morant. I don't look. He's a young man, an adult, and whatever decisions he makes, good or bad, are his own. I don't really care what he does. If I had look, I don't know why any of these people drive cars. All of them got cars. Why are you driving? You got money. Get a town car and have somebody drive you around.
I don't have big money, and I do that.
Right? Why do you
I'll
have
work
a
in
car?
the back of a
What
ride
was
share
my man Chad Ochocinco? He lived in the training facility for 2 years. For 2 years. He's like, why would I get an apartment? I don't like this town. I just work here. So I'm gonna get an apartment. I'm gonna spend this much money a month for an apartment. How I could live here? They got everything here. And he lived there for 2 years till they found out and saved every dime of his money. You don't have, okay, here's an example. 30 years ago, or 20 years ago, the travel per diem was $1,000 a night for a player. I don't know what it is now. It might be $2,500. $1,000 a night. You said 4 games a week, right? They play 4 games a week. $4,000 a week. Why do you ever cash a check? Why do you cash a check? $4,000 a week. $4,000 a week, and that was back then. So now it might be $10,000 a week. Why are you cashing a check? And the same answer is to this Morant. Why do you have a gun? First of all, it's obvious that it ain't legal or registered, right? Why do you have one? Who's coming for you, dude? Didn't he beat somebody up last month? Something else.
Yeah, he had about 2 or 3 incidents back to back.
Real stupidish.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, come on, man. Like, at a certain point, just the stupidity and insanity and all of this. And listen, a lot of it has to deal with social media, right? And the false narrative of what goes on in the world. I mean, people, do y'all really believe that the people y'all watch, me included? I mean, look, I don't embellish and I don't use filters, but you see minutes out of weeks of my life. Those minutes are fantastic. Don't get it twisted, but there's a lot more minutes in that week that you don't get to see, right? So you can't take the minutes that people choose to show you on social media and think that that's the life that they're living every minute of every day of their life. If you got good minutes, you got a lot more bad that you got to work through to get to the point. Like I worked since I worked from 13, right? I worked from 13 years old to about 48 years old, 49 years old, damn near every day of my life in order to be retired at 50, right? It's not easy. These people online flashing all this stuff, it ain't like that. And this dude got caught up with it, and he actually got some kind of money and notoriety, and he's
dummy.
Look, here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to critique his individual character as a person because I can't call it. Whatever he thinks is good in his mind, that's his business, and his mama and daddy and whoever, that's their business. Everybody's perception is different. I grew up I realize this now that I don't belong in this world that's right here because none of this shit makes sense to me. None of it.
I can dig it.
Right? So whatever he do, the league, as far as what the team did, if they have a I don't agree with the idea that the league is investigating. Who the hell are they? COINTELPRO? Like, I don't like that shit. I don't like that the league feels that they are the law. I know they got a lot of retired CIA and FBI agents following the players around and shit, but they should have did something about this before it became an issue. But again, there was enough stuff there to know that you should have been looking after this kid a little bit better. Now, and he's like the face of the league. It ain't like he's a,
Oh no, he's no chump.
like he's the
like,
face of the league. Like
Yeah.
every night he's jumping through the
and
building.
he's the face of a rebuilding franchise.
He's one of the top
He
five
is-
best players in the league.
Right.
and he is the face of the Grizzlies.
They
Absolutely.
wanted to move Steph down and make him the point guard of the league, but now Steph got to come back and take that again because he's destroying the imagery. But my thing is, I don't like the NBA investigating. If there's a criminal charge to be had, if the local authorities are going to go after that, and something happens and they find him in breach of contract, then they can take whatever steps that they feel are necessary to, deal with his breach of contract, whether that be fine, suspension, or firing him, like any other employer. But the idea that we're going to investigate the league, come on, man, y'all really ain't. Y'all not supposed to be the law like that. Don't show your true colors, NBA and other monopolies, that y'all are just a big plantation with the slave owners and giving these kids what they think is money, but ain't really even their money, because after they finish paying taxes and going to your friends and buying shit they don't need and hiring your cousins and uncles like Kanye was talking about to represent them and paying them 10 and 15 and 20% of the money, they wind up in debt by the time they leave and broke and fucked up. We're going to come back to my segment about that shit, but this is all modern day slavery.
And Steph Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and Radio. A couple of comments and then Steph will make her comment. Peace to my brother Robert Ralston says, say hello to the brothers for me. I will make sure that I do that for you, Samodi B. Ronaldo says, you a baller in the club. You better have some heat with you. I just don't agree with that. I hope that's tongue in cheek. Maybe it is. If it's not, I just don't agree with that. Because you got the resources to have security. You don't have to have heat in the club. Ask Plaxico how that went for you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
you hurting me.
You know what I mean? Like,
you're breaking my heart.
I'm just,
Plaxico
and for the record,
Troy Avenue.
and for everybody who wants to,
Damn.
understand, who doesn't know, Plaxico went to jail for possession of their weapon. No other reason. Not for shooting himself. None of that stuff. He went to prison because he had the gun. Just having it, which is the reason why they're investigating John Morant for the possession. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and Radio, because America does not allow just anybody to walk around with a gun, no matter what the Second Amendment says.
Well, they do. They don't let anybody black walk.
Depending, well, that's we can reference the Mulford.
White people walk around with guns all the time.
Well, so do I. So that's not true. But they didn't let you. I understand.
You fought for your right to party.
But I understand. See the Mulford Act of 1967 if you want to know what the deal is about just carrying a weapon. That's the reason why they messing with him. But he's reckless. He's dumb as hell. And anybody who has a gun in his hand better be ready to pull the trigger. Don't pull it out if you ain't trying to shoot it. And stop trying to show the world how cool you are, because you ain't cool just because you got a gun. Wow. The coolest people in the world have a gun and you'll never know it. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and Radio. All right. So Ronaldo continues. He says maybe instead of having them former agents following him, they should be providing security for the millionaire athletes. You nailed it. I agree with that. Legacy and Radio alumni. My brother Aaron Turner is checking us out. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. And Aubrey says, how about stay the fuck out of the club? I mean, hey, that part. Steph, before we move to Green Talk, you have any final comments on the John Morant thing?
I think it's easy with the John Morant situation. When you're a certain age, they look dumb. They look dumb for making these decisions. But I think there's a certain level of one. This kid was raised in a 2-parent home. His dad gave up playing overseas so he could be at home when he found out that John's mother was pregnant. So you know, you're trying to be something you're not. You were raised in a 2-parent home. I think dad is a little off kilter at times. We've seen it at games. Dad is trying to be the cool dad instead of being a parent. I do think there's a need for a handler outside of his normal environment. You know, there is this element of when, and both of his parents were like semi-pro and college players and everything else. But I think there's an element that you see in pro basketball, no different than what you see in music and what you see in those Disney kids, where the child becomes the primary breadwinner, and the parents do not become or maintain the leadership status they should. So you see someone like him, you know, I've seen this guy do great deeds. You know, tip a server $500, and you know, and be really kind in public and do a lot of different things. But there's clearly an element of personal management that's missing. And when your child starts to make more money than you, and you already bout that life because John's dad comes across like he's bout it, right? I think there's a need for somebody else to step in. It is super easy. How old is this guy? You know, he's what? He was born in 99. He's a kid. Frontal lobe isn't even ready. He's still smooth up there. He's making dumbass decisions that we often forget that we made. When I was 25, I was the mother of a 5-year-old.
I got Nikes older than him.
I was the mother of a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. I shouldn't have been. I didn't know what I was doing. Every now and then my kids will tell me about a moment where they knew I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be like, oh, I thought I was doing a great job, right? He's young. He's messing up. He's an idiot. Most of us who have kids in their 20s, don't lie to yourself. Your kid's an idiot doing idiot shit out here in the public. What I think is really necessary, and this is from a financial perspective, for those of us, we watch so many of these young athletes come from nothing, and coming from nothing and making 6 figures a year, that's one thing. Coming from nothing and making millions, it opens up too many opportunities for error too quickly with very little training, very little, you know, they can be home trained, but now the kids making more money than the family, the entire family, mom, dad, and everybody else that's working is not living up to what this person is making financially. I almost believe it would be better to have a handler that's outside of the familial nucleus to come in and kind of step in and give some guidance. I feel bad for him because of that. Because I remember, and I know a lot of people don't, but I remember being dumb and young. I remember it. And you can tell, yeah, they gave him the, you know, the stat quo statement. I don't disagree with you, Marcus. I don't disagree there that, you know, I'm going to step away for a minute. I need to think about what I did. Whatever he said, I'm sure, you know, I've written some of those statements for people who are in political spaces, you know, behind the scenes. And I know how that goes. But I also think there's room for him to redeem himself. I don't think that he's above saving. I just think that there's something to say about when we, who historically are not the most wealthy people in America, get this level of wealth and access, but no management with it. You need the management. Otherwise, this statement will just be one of many.
Ain't no have Steppin with Marcus J live from NewDen, Legacy Internet Radio. All right, so I'm excited because first of all, it is half past our second hour. So we got about an hour left to go in tonight's show, and we made a commitment to try to make sure we keep to our time frame because we'll have y'all in here till tomorrow o'clock. And I already said that, but I'm gonna say it again. So we appreciate as much as y'all love us. We gotta go to work tomorrow. We can't stay with y'all forever.
I'm going to DC to see Senator McClellan sworn in.
Yeah. She is the first Black woman
Yes.
from the state of Virginia to be elected to Congress.
Yes. Shout out to RCDC Chairman Jewel Jordan. Shout out to my hugely political sister from Brooklyn who lives here. You know, we go places and make impact. Monica Hutchinson. They reached out to me right away and were like, yo, you're not going to be in the room? Yeah. And I said, Oh, I'm gonna be in the role.
Yeah.
So we packing up tomorrow and going. So I definitely need to get some rest and
Yeah.
work these locks so I have look glamorous tomorrow.
Hey, girl. Hey. So,
You're
John.
so cute.
Yeah, I'm a mess, man. I'm a whole mess. You gotta stay with me.
Oh my God, keep them home or I'm gonna keep them myself.
Yeah, man. So, John, Steph is gonna be debuting Steph episodes shortly after, and you definitely want to hear the very personal story that she will share with us. So, if you're listening now, I guess they call that a tease. But she had a personal situation that has come up that she's gonna share with us, and we absolutely want to be listening to that because you too can benefit from the experience that she's going to share with us. But before we do Stephisodes and we talk about that, we're going to be debuting Green Talk. And so you got the con.
Yes.
What is Green Talk? What are we, first of all, what are we going to be talking about in our shows when we're going to talk about Green Talk? So introduce it and then introduce what tonight's Green Talk will be. So we'll take us some time to get into that. What you got, bro? You got the con.
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna break all that down for sure. Well, Green Talk. Well, I'm Green. I'm John Green. That's why y'all hear me call Jay Grizzy cousin, right? Greens. I guess we related. Just got plus we both light skinned. So, but nah, Green Talk. I'm gonna talk about stuff that's green. Your finance, the environment, and climate. Right. Not in that order. Not necessarily. Emphasis on one or the other is not going to be. It's not going to be definitely one or all or something in an order. Is going to be what's in the news more than anything, or what's on my mind more than anything that I'm going to share. But it will be one of those three topics, or all of those three topics, or two. Right. Tonight we're gonna keep it in the finance situation because there's a lot going on in the world financially, and there's a lot of concern and people are talking about. Tonight specifically, I'm going to speak about your 401k. Right. If your company, if you're working and your company isn't matching dollars, they're not going to match every dollar. They might match the first 5 or 6 or whatever. If they're not matching dollars, you're wasting your input, your money. If they are, continue your contributions. But if you have a lump sum, I need you to roll it over. Maybe get a Roth IRA or something like that. And then once you move it out of the 401k in its entirety, and if you go into a Roth IRA, you can avoid the taxes because you're not using it. You can then purchase, and I always tell you guys this, you can purchase whole life insurance. You don't have to necessarily purchase it for yourself to be the owner or the manager of the policy. You can do it for your children, your grandchildren, whatever the case is, but the money is going to earn so much more money for you. Whole life insurance averages anywhere from 10 to 14%, where the stock market does 8 to 10%. 401k, you lucky if you get 3-4%, like a CD, a cash deferred account in a bank. So move your money, and it's tax-free money, right? It's tax-free money. And here goes the kicker. If you need it, you can borrow it and it will not affect your interest rate, right? Real quick example. You have $100,000 policy, right? And you want to borrow $90,000 off that policy. The policy is paying you 10% annual. So you're making $10,000 a year on that policy. You borrow $90,000. You're not borrowing it against your money. You're borrowing it against the death benefit. So your interest is not going to change. You're still going to get $10,000. As a matter of fact, you could use your interest to pay back the loan. So it's free money, right? Or you could pay yourself back with interest and pay it back and still use the money, invest it, do things with it. There are multiple. There's not one set life insurance, whole life insurance policy. There are multiple types of policies. Speak with an agent as well as an attorney. And you're gonna, this isn't talk for people who are struggling. Most of the people we know that I know are struggling. So it's not necessarily talk for struggling people. There are things you could do to help yourself to struggle less, right? And proper investment is one of those things. But if you're not struggling, if you got a couple dollars, you got a little bit extra, you got to look into doing this, because planning this out is going to make the difference. This is how you get generational wealth. This is how Rockefeller did it. This is how Disney did it. They did it with life insurance. It's just that simple. And nobody ever has to collect any of the money. Just put it into the family, make it an estate. You know, I tell you guys this all the time, and I tell people, call me, get in contact with me. We could do a whole breakdown of how this works, and I will do it. I was doing it for money in my retirement. I do it for free right now because things are going crazy. The world as is coming for the dollar. And what that means is the rest of the US dollar is what everybody banks on around the world. And other countries are coming for the US dollar. Russia and China together, they got BRICS, not Brexit, but they got this other thing, BRICS. They're going against us. They got South Africa, Colombia, all these other countries. They want to come off the US dollar standard, go back to the ghost. They want to do all this stuff and mess with the economy. Don't panic, because we still got the bigger gun, so they really can't do anything because we just blow people up. It's what we do. But be careful about where you're putting your money in the crypto. Watch that crypto, because that crypto is going to be no dough in a minute, because you already can't. They're already making it much more difficult to liquefy out of crypto, right? And the point is, you were never supposed to liquefy. You're supposed to barter. You're supposed to use the crypto dollars in places where crypto was accepted. You wasn't supposed to put your money in, wait for it to triple, double, and take it out. That's why crypto is dying on the vine right now, right? So if you need investment vehicles, crypto may not be what you want to do right now. Even those less than a penny coins, they're not. It's not going to happen again. Bitcoin, who's the big dog, it's going to top out somewhere between 25 and 30,000. That's going to be it. They're getting ready to do a split. So if it goes down below 15,000, I say try to buy some. But if not, you too late. You late for the party. Other than that, stay in contact with me. Look for more Green Talk each segment we got, and that's it for tonight.
You know, I have Steph Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and that radio. I'm going to like Green Talk.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm going to like Green Talk.
You mentioned that crypto.
Yeah, I was someone, you know, before you guys came along to my, you know, to become my blessing. I talked about crypto a lot on the show, and I was involved in it in 2018, right during the second boom, because the first boom was a little bit before that. Those are the people, the first boom were the people that made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then the second boom was the people who made some money. So I came along towards the tail end of the second boom. And, you know, crypto is what crypto is, you know, and at the time it was a lot of conversation around the Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin and all those things,
Doge.
you know, and Doge and, you know, and I was big, you know, talking to folks about it. But I saw the wave coming down. And once I saw that, I was like, man, we had some, but then it took that from us too. You know what I'm saying? And I think that anybody that still is in that thinking that they're gonna get rich, I got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah. At this point,
I got a bridge to sell you. So ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. All right. So the final main topic that we will have tonight, we're gonna introduce a new segment, and it's called Stephisodes. And obviously it's gonna be led by our sister Steph. I love how John threw Green in there for his segment, Green Talk, you know, and I love how Steph threw her segment in there. Stephasos. You know what I mean? They're making them real personal. You know, the show ain't on Steph Marks J, so that's my personal, and they got their personal. Like, we got our fingerprints all over this, and I love that. I love that, you know? And I love the fact that we doing this together. We walking this walk together. John, you're so smart, bro. And the way you lead us in certain areas is so necessary because you speak from a position, not just from authority, but from of know. You're in the know, like you know this stuff, and so you want to help us, and so I appreciate that. And so as we shift to Stephasos, we know our final main topic of tonight's show. After we finish this piece, we're going to move into our final segment, our rants and our closings. I'm going to do a couple of missing children, and I'm going to do the moment in Black history. On occasion, I do it in my rant. Tonight will be one of those nights that I do the moment in Black history in my rant. So you just have to be really, 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 really patient. Long time listeners and viewers and supporters might have a little bit of an idea in part where tonight's moment in history will be, but for those who, what are you talking about now? Just listen. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Aubrey says, great episode, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for rocking with us and being with us. And if Mike is still listening, I just want to let you know that I did pull up Monday Night Raw, and I saw the beloved Bianca Belair just being
so
Bianca, just being Bianca. Like,
I love her.
Bianca Belair is the EST.
So cute.
She is the EST. You know what that means? She is the est. What does that mean? She is the best. She is the sweetest. She is the finest. She is the
fine
est.
for real.
Yeah, that's a fine woman. Lord have mercy.
EST the magnificent.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she's made such a huge
The
impact.
greatest
Quick.
gal alive.
She came in about 2017, 2016.
Ballpark, yeah.
And she's killing it.
You know what I will say about that, right? You know, I've been watching pro wrestling for over 40 years. I predate Hulkamania.
Me too.
I've been watching wrestling since when Hulk Hogan was a heel. Before,
shout out to the elders being willing to purchase.
you know what I'm saying?
WrestleMania.
like Pops took me to Madison Square Garden and the Brendan Byrne Arena in the Meadowlands.
I predate Hulk Hogan as a wrestler. I predate the Iron Sheik.
See what I'm saying? See, you know what I'm saying? So
when I
look
started
at
watching wrestling, Bruno Sammartino was the world
back
champion.
when they called it WWF.
Yes,
three
Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
So when I look at Bianca, I will say this, and then we'll transition. Right? When I look at her, I look at how women wrestlers did not get the respect that they should have gotten.
Fabulous Moolah.
Now that we have so many of them, and they're so good. They're so good. Like, they put on good performances and great product. Wrestling's fake. Why y'all watch it?
So what?
It's entertainment, and even though the
every other television
even though the outcomes are predetermined, the athleticism cannot be questioned. And I'm no longer interested in arguing with people. I used to argue with my nana about that all the time. It's phony. It's so phony. I don't know why you watch this phony. That was her word. She called it phony. It's phony. You know, as Mick Foley. Ask Mick Foley if it's phony when Mark Calloway, known as The Undertaker, threw him off of this 17-foot cage. But anyway, I don't want to do all of that. Bianca Belair is fine as hell. But not just as she's fine, Mark.
Wrestles her ass.
But she is good performer. She's outstanding in the ring. Her strength, her speed, her agility, even her work on the mic. She is a Hall of Famer in the making, and we're watching it. And then she's a sister.
Yes.
And the champ.
Yeah.
And respect her when you see her. And she do a little ponytail thing with long
she
hair.
whip her hair.
She whip her hair. Go ahead, girl. And I just love it. So anyway, a couple of
it's relaxing.
I am not alone. I'm not alone.
All the Gen Xers are jumping in.
No, I got wrestling fans jumping in. Alexis is checking in. We'll be there this Sunday. Yes. This she says, me too, and she's a fan. Oh yeah, you talking about the Macho Man Randy Savage? Yeah, you talking about the greatest world champion in the history of the business. Dig it. It's my impersonation.
Oh, that was
of the
actually a really
Macho
good
Man.
one.
Give me a little more
Macho
time. I'd have
Man.
done a little bit more. And then we got Mondays are great. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus Shea. And Monday Night Raw.
And
Yeah,
Monday Night Raw,
both of us.
yes.
Aubrey says Bob Backlund. Yeah, I met Bob Backlund right here in the
Oh
Richmond
my gosh,
Coliseum.
Bob
He's a
Backlund.
weirdo. Everything else on TV is phony, but we still watch it. Hey, look, I look at it this way: we can watch
I'ma
Law
like
and
that
Order. We
response.
watch Law and Order, and we see Tracy
Propaganda.
Marrow, also known as Ice-T, play a cop. If I can watch Ice-T play a cop,
Yes.
I can watch
Wait,
wrestling.
the longest running actor on television
23
and the longest running black actor.
years.
The only person longer than him, Mariska Hargitay.
Ain't that something? Ain't no how step Marcus J live from
Craziness.
NewDen Legacy and Radio.
We're
All
from
right, so
cop
let-
killer to a cop.
to a cop. Yeah. Let us go ahead and debut Stephasode. So first I want you to introduce what it is, and then I want you to talk to us about what tonight's episode of Stephasodes will entail.
I appreciate it. And thank you, brothers. I have truly enjoyed being here with you tonight. I do. Stephasodes.
Me more than him though.
I don't pick favorites. I can't do it. You know. It's like your mom. She tell you she ain't got a favorite. You know she does. My kids swear I got a favorite. I'll never tell. So Stephasodes is an extension of the Hustlers Hive. Hustlers Hive is being revamped, coming back to radio, and also going to expand into a podcast. And Stephasodes is just a little element of where we talk about the collision of culture and business. Sometimes it'll be purely culture, other times purely business, and then many times you'll see where business and culture collide. Tonight, I am going to be talking about communal accountability and what our responsibility is to our community outside of what we think white folk own us as our communities burgeon and bloom and change. And my conversation is driven off of a personal experience that I had last Wednesday. I wish it wasn't so emotional, but for me, it was something that was pretty significant. So last Wednesday, I was out. I decided to take my dog on a walk. I live in an area of Richmond called New Manchester, but the truth is that it's Blackwell, right? So we're just gonna call it Blackwell, because the people who are residents of Blackwell would still call it that. Right. So gentrification labels it New Manchester, which basically means that every single one of the former factories that were in that market have been turned into, high-end loft spaces and things like that. For those of us who are downsizing, I'm an empty nester. And so I moved into a space that allowed me to have kind of like, smaller space, more accessibility to the city, and live out my 40s. In a way that is separate from my life parenting prior to my 40s. So last Wednesday, on the 1st of March, I decided to take my dog for a walk. I normally do. I went out to take my dog. It was 9:45 in the evening. I was on the phone with a good friend who actually tuned in tonight, Michelle Wilson, Mom Michelle, Minty's Catering. Was on the phone with me. And the minute I stepped out of my building, a car raced up to the curb, and the man in the car threw his door open, leaned out one entire foot out of the car. And I'm saying this as, by the way, today I spent time with the maintenance director of the community I live in, and we watched this on camera as well. So this is very fresh to me, having just seen it on camera. Throws open his door, puts one leg out of the car. I am walking very close to my apartment building. He has his phone in his hand and says, "Let me get your number. Ayo, ma, let me get your number." I say, while I'm on the phone with a friend, she's on speaker, by the way, I say, "No, thank you. I'm good." I keep walking in the opposite direction, which the car is facing. As I'm walking away, he says it 2 more times. If you were to watch the video, you see me twice look over my shoulder, make very little eye contact with this individual, and say, again, "No, thank you. I'm good." I didn't say fuck you. I didn't say get the fuck out my face. I didn't say anything aggressive. I'm trying to follow all the rules that people have told me should protect me from any sense of aggression. And he slams his door and takes off. Good. I feel like I'm in the clear. I take my dog up the block. I cross over to the other side of the street. And now I'm walking back toward my building. As I'm walking back toward my building, I sense that someone is behind me. It happens to be the same black vehicle driving slowly up the street, a few inches behind me or a few feet behind me. I stop, I face the street because now I don't want my back to this individual. They have their window down, they pull up on me, and they can see visibly that I'm concerned. Men know when women are afraid. Men are well aware of when women are afraid. Men are also aware of their ability to put us in a state of fear. And some men use it. So this young man happens to be black male, light brown skin. I can identify him from a hairdo, but I am so concerned about my personal well-being. I'm holding my dog in one hand, a phone in the other, and I look at him and I wait to see what he's going to say. He sees the fear in my face and he says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to fuck with you." And I look at him and I wait to see what he's going to do. And I have my back against a row of bushes that are between me and the parking lot behind me, which is almost full. And he sees the look on my face. I don't say anything. And again, he says, but this time with almost a maniacal Joker like look on his face, I said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to fuck with you." And then a third time he says it, but he laughs really loud. Again, knowing that he's put me in a state of distress. "I'm not going to fuck with you." And I said, "Leave me alone or I will call the police." So now, one, I'm in a position of having to threaten a black male that I am going to call the police because my safety is clearly at risk. You had no reason, but you came back. You had no reason, but you came back. When I said I'm going to call the police, this man's response was, "Fuck the police and fuck you, bitch." He races down the street. I watch him drive to the end of my street. He hits the stop sign, and then I see his reverse lights come on. And now I know I'm in danger. He's angry. I apparently don't have the responsibility or the right to tell you no, which is a huge issue when men approach women, is our ability to tell you no. I immediately know I'm in danger. I grab my dog and I go between two cars and I squat down because I'm afraid for my life. Because I'm not sure of what this black man is going to do to me, a black woman, because I know that 8 black women were killed every single day in 2022, and most by gun violence. Because I know that black women are killed by black men more than white women are killed by white men. Although we love the statistic and we love to say, "Oh, white men, they'll kill you." Black women are killed more by their partners and black men that they do not know more than any other race, more than Latinas, more than whites, more than natives, more than Asians. I am now afraid of you, brother. That's what I'm supposed to call you. I'm now afraid. I squat behind 2 vehicles. I hear him roll back to where he originally saw me. I hear him say, "Where is she?" I then hear his car pull forward and him back into the alleyway that is directly near where I am hiding, maybe 5 cars away from me. I stand up a little bit because I'm thinking, can I make it across the street back to my building, back to safety? I don't have my firearm. I am a legally licensed gun owner. I don't have my taser. Shout out to first of all, shout out to my ex-boyfriend who bought me the gun. Shout out to my ex-husband who bought me a taser many years after being his wife. As a matter of fact, last year, sent me and his daughter a taser. And I have pepper spray. I have none of those things on me because I'm choosing to believe that going outside for 5 minutes to walk my dog, I'll be okay. I now hear this man looking for me. I stand up. I feel like I'm in, and I said this online on social media where I shared this. I feel as though I'm in the Lifetime movie I never wanted to be in. I'm afraid. My heart is racing. My dog, sensing my panic, is panting. My friend, Michelle, is on the phone asking me my location. I'm afraid he'll hear her. I press to reduce the volume. Our phone calls get disconnected. I know she's trying to call the police to tell them where I'm located. I look up. I see that he is walking through the cars and using the flashlight on his cell phone to find where I am. Either underneath the cars, he keeps bending down, he's standing up, he's looking for me. I am panicked. I am legitimately fearful. And I'm not fearful because I'm a punk. I'm not fearful because I can't fight. I'm not fearful because I can't protect myself. I'm fearful because I'm put in a position I should never be put in. And I know that this position has ended the life of many women. I'm fearful because I live in the city of Richmond, where last year, not one, not three, not five, but 7 women were shot, all holding their children or outdoors with their children. And I don't live very far from where they were shot. I hear him looking for me. Where is this bitch? Where is this bitch? Mind you, his aggression is simply because I declined to give him my personal information. A man I do not know. I hear someone, I did not realize he had a passenger in the car. I hear them say, fuck that bitch, let's go. It takes them about 2 or 3 minutes before they leave again, and they drive off. I stay for another 2 or 3 minutes, afraid to stand, afraid to come out from my position, worrying about my safety. I don't have immediate family in the area. I'm not confident I can call someone and get them there in time. I have called the police in my market one time and they showed up an hour later. I know I'm not safe. I look up, I see that no one's on the street. I race back across the street again today. I watch the video replay. I see all of this and I feel this. I race across the street. I see a neighbor. She's moving out. She has a male with her. I say to them both, I'm afraid this is what happened. They help me get inside. The guy is looking up and down the street. The episode is open. We are here 2 days away from the week of this incident. And I have been given counsel on all the things I should have done. I should have had my gun. I should have not spoken to him. I should have ignored him when he initially asked for my number. I should have went inside the minute he asked me for my number. I have gotten so many responses to what I should have done. But I haven't heard anybody say what he should have done, which was simply leave me alone. It's 9:45 at night. We haven't fall back into spring yet or sprung forward as we will do this weekend. So clearly, it's dark. You don't pull up on a lone woman in the dark if you are a good man. You know that would make her uncomfortable. You don't then circle a block and come back for that woman. You don't reverse almost 35 to 40 miles per hour down a private street to find this woman. You know this woman is afraid. I have been asked a million questions about what I could have done differently. I have not heard anything. I've even been told it's unfortunate that you because now my stance is I will shoot first and ask questions later. Now my stance is I can't give you brothers any kind of room because you don't care about how I feel. You don't care about my emotional well-being or my safety. And what I would say to the community, we spend a lot of time talking about gentrification and our anger at how we are perceived and how white people perceive us. We need to walk and chew gum. We need to walk and chew gum. Some of you are not raising your sons right. Some of you have brothers, cousins, uncles, fathers who are harassing women in the street. Some of you are still making excuses for the pain that Black women go through. Some of you are conditioned to accept your own trauma because some women have said to me, why didn't you? And my real question is, why aren't we? Why aren't we a community that recognizes that the trauma we are lobbing at one another is as traumatic, painful, detrimental, and maybe more so than the trauma that the cops or the system lobs at us? 10,580 Black men were killed last year, 220 were killed by the police. If you can walk and chew gum, you can say that you're angry at that 220, but you can also ask, why are we okay not addressing the trauma that we are creating within our own community? I'm a mother of a 25 and 26-year-old. This young man was amongst the age range of my children. This young man is now out there in the city of Richmond, and I won't be the first or the last. I guarantee you I was not the first. This young man, had he run up on me on a different day, would have ended his own life by choice. And I would have engaged him and protected myself first. And his mother may have been on TV talking about how her son was a good boy and never hurt anyone. Some of you have children who grow up. You did not raise them. Now is the time for us to address that. Why are Black women, who are the most educated people in America, still dying at a rate higher than any other woman in America? Why doesn't money, why doesn't education, why doesn't moving save us? Why are we uncomfortable asking the questions? Why are we uncomfortable looking within? I am not afraid when I'm walking down the street and I see a white man. I will tell you, I grew up in Brooklyn and then in New Jersey. I've never been accosted by a white man. The first time I was ever called the N-word was not by a white man. I want us to be a community that says we will have the conversations internally. Don't treat Black women. I have been told that Black women are the ops, Black women are bitter, everything possible. But I've never been told we need to look at these statistics and wonder why we aren't willing to do better. Why we aren't holding one another accountable for our actions. If a white man did this to me and I told this story, there would be people angry about it because the race angle feeds it. But what I'm telling you is he is not my trauma. He is not my danger. And so today I call for community accountability. I let you know that as a Black woman, I don't have the opportunity or the right to say that I want the police abolished or defunded because I need them more than you do. That's all.
You know, have Steppin, Marcus, Shay live from NewDen, Legacy and Net Radio. You know, Steph, just hearing you tell the story is, I'm just so sorry that you had to experience that.
Thank you.
I wish that you had not. I wish that we as men would lean towards protection, would lean towards, if you can't do that, you know, there's an analogy. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. You can apply that kind of logic of the stuff. Like, if you can't be helpful, be absent. If you can't be helpful, be silent. You know what I mean? Like, I just, you know, I'm just so sorry you had to deal with that, you know, and I hope that when this is resolved, and it will have the appropriate resolution because you are taking the steps to seek that resolution. But when I look over at John and I feel how I feel, I need you to know that you're not alone. You felt alone in that moment and you were, but you have Black men that love you, that love you. And I just wish that that was more universal, specifically on that night. Because if you can't be helpful, be absent.
Yes.
That's it. And what kind of fragile masculinity can't receive and accept when a sister's not interested? Like, come on, man. Like she's not interested. And that's okay. You're not putting down what she wants to pick up. That's enough for you to menace, you know? I just and with respect to us and our age, this is very likely a younger person. So we dealing with you creating trauma for an elder? You creating trauma for an elder? Really? It's just, I'm gonna read this comment. John, I want you to comment real quick, and then we're gonna take this home. Uh Alexis is from Jersey City, by the way. And PCU, sis, Arlington Avenue. Yeah. Many of these males have suppressed issues with women because of childhood traumas with females they were raised with or without. Learning starts at home, and some just weren't and aren't being raised with the teachings of respecting women because of the women in their lives expected this behavior from men. So the cycle continues. I appreciate your participation tonight in the show, Alexis. Thank you. Says John, you got the con.
I don't like the idea that something like that goes on, especially with you, Steph, my sis. But we don't really have a community, and that's the sad thing. And I feel sometimes we are trying a little bit too hard to make one and to force one, because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. There's 55 countries on the continent of Africa right now. And there's more genetic diversity between the people of Africa than there is between black folk and the rest of the world who are not black folk. Right? So we are so diverse, right? The idea, and we are too willing to accept the idea that for some reason, because we all have some melanin, that we're supposed to behave and think and act the same way. We're just not. And you're gonna get these morons. And I would like to think that more than a bad guy, we was dealing with a moron. I would like to think that, right? I would like to think that he was backing up, show you his jewelry and money, see what you missing, and all this kind of stuff, not to come back and physically harm you. But he's too stupid to realize that his aggression gives you fear. Because before we started doing this show together, I wasn't completely thoughtless about how women feel for their safety, but I had nowhere near the consciousness of it that I do now. Even down to, I was out one time, I was going to the airport with my lady at the time, and we were in a Uber, a Lyft, and the guy just made a wrong turn. And he's going someplace not to, and she's panicking.
Yes.
And I don't understand why she's panicking. One, is two of us, and two, I'm much bigger than this guy. But she's panicking about this guy making a wrong turn by the airport. The guy's just a moron. He don't know where he's going. And with that episode and with speaking with you, I have a better understanding about the way women feel about their safety. And men, we're so arrogant and ignorant because we take these things for granted, right? We take it for granted because we, for the most part, when we walk outside, we don't feel afraid. We're not really, for the most part, worried about somebody doing anything to us, because it's like that Cedric. We with the wish, not the hope. We don't hope everything goes out. We wish them up like a would, because we got a whole lot of pent up aggression that we would be looking to take out on some unfortunate person who would try something. And that's that masculinity thing, and we don't understand, and we listen. And to the people who were telling you about what you, there was nothing to do different. There was nothing to do. And guess what? I'm glad you didn't have your gun, because now we be having another conversation about legal eagle and us trying to deal with the consequences of your actions.
Michelle said that.
And again, this guy, like I said, I would like to think he's just stupid, right? And would have rolled up on you, yo, look at this. And he got a chain and some cash in his hand, and he gets 4 bullets to the chest. On the ground now, and his mama saying, like you say, he ain't never hurt nobody. This was a good kid. Yeah, but he was just dumb because he doesn't understand that it's dark outside. This is a woman alone, and she has fear, right? And lastly, I'm going to end this. This is the reason, Steph. You asked about a reason. The reason is you're a target. You've been targeted. We would love for Black folks to be better, right? But I'm at the point now where I'm tired of asking us to be better. Because why do we always have to be better than everybody else, right? You were painted as a target. You were designated victim in this society, in the country we live in. It's the price we pay for not having, child labor and digging through garbage like people in India, and the little Biafra child with the fly on your face in the old ads. The price to that, living in this horrific great country that we live in, is being targeted by everyone, which includes people who look like us, because the idea of victim and perpetrator isn't designated by your color or gender unless you're dealing with police, right? Other than that, everything is open. But for some reason, we have this, again, look, I love the Obamas, but I think one of the worst things ever said, when they go low, we go high. No, when they go low, we kick them in the face, right? To make sure they don't get up, because they got more bad waiting for us when they get up, right? We got to stop trying to do better and get better and do this and come together and that. Nah. Right now, and this is a Black Restaurant Week in RVA. If you got a restaurant and you Black and your restaurant sucks, you're not getting my money. I'm not spending money with you just because you Black. That's not how this thing goes, right? And I'm not expecting this moron who rolled up on you in the car, this idiot, to be better or to treat you better just because you guys both have pigment. He's an idiot first. He's a moron first. Him being Black is just circumstantial. You being Black is circumstantial. But the problem is, you being Black makes him feel as if you are to be targeted, because that's what is told and has been told to everyone in this country since this country's been a place. That Blacks are targeted, and that just doesn't go for whites. It goes for everybody. And you're asking for people with poor education, with a lot of times parents who are on drugs, with all other kind of stuff, to have an elevated mental and emotional state to be able to recognize the trauma that they've been through and rise above it. You're asking a lot, unfortunately. The sad part about it is, this is why you're a licensed gun owner and pepper spray and a taser. And this is why you're probably not going to walk your dog again without the gun. And this is why, unfortunately, somebody asking for directions might get shot. Because this is the state of things that go on in this world and in the world that we live in. And I don't know what we can do to change, but I'm definitely tired of asking Black people to do better. Because if they could, they would. You know better, you show better. If you knew better, you would do better. But since they don't, we got to move on.
Ain't no hashtag Marks J Live from NewDen Legacy and Radio. A couple of comments. I put them up on the screen. I'll read them. Uncle H says, I love you, Steph.
Thank you, Uncle H.
That's all it says.
Thank you.
Which is plenty.
It is.
Alexis says, "Peace, brother, and you're welcome." She continues, "Really challenging to walk with your head high as a queen when many kings degrade you. Definitely tired how to expect others to respect us and don't expect our own self and our own people." I understand the frustration, Alexis. Legal Eagle, Tamika Robinson. He understands and he knew what he was doing. He just didn't care, and that's the sad part. So it's a lot of support stuff going on here, and just know that you have love and you have support from your family here in this room and this family who, under the sound of your voice, understands what uh, you have dealt with, and they want to share their support for you. So, much love to you guys. You guys always come through,
Yeah.
and
Thank you guys.
we appreciate you for doing so. And you know how Steph Mark Shay live from NewDen Legacy and that radio. All right, so we will move to the final stage of the show where we rant, where we close. As I mentioned before, I will do the moment in Black history during my rant. So at this stage, I will just share with you the missing children that we will be looking for. Then John will rant, Steph will rant, excuse me, and I will close us out. Tonight, we were looking for Sakara Branch. Sakara Branch is a Black female from Richmond, Virginia. She's been missing since February 23. She's 5'7", 130, last seen on February 8th, possibly wearing a black shirt, blue jeans, and a black jacket. If you've seen Sakara Branch, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children, their website, missingkids.org, or contact the Richmond Police Department at 804-646-3602, or contact the phone number 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. We are also looking for Janiyah Red. Janiyah Red has been missing since March 4th, which was just this weekend, from Henrico, which is part of us here in the Cap City. She's a 14-year-old Black female who stands 5'3", 110. Janiyah was last seen on March 4th wearing a blue long sleeve shirt and blue jeans. If you have seen her, please contact the Henrico Police Department at 1-800-501-5000. So we're looking for Janiyah Red. We're also looking for Sakara Branch. If you've seen either of them, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children, their website, missingkids.org, or contact the 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Let's bring our babies home. Keep your eyes peeled. One of the things that really, really, really upset me and frustrated me, kind of took my breath away and knocked me off my square, was when I was looking for the missing children to profile on tonight's show. And we haven't done a show, John, Steph, and I, since December 5th, when we came in here and we celebrated the Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. 10-year anniversary show. Was it 10 years? 2012? No, it was 11 years. 11 years. See, all the years they start to blend together. Thank you, Steph, for being my right hand, who sits on my right side. But, you know, we celebrated 11 years. And there are a lot of children that are still missing. And as I was looking up who we were going to profile today, I was stumbling upon some of the children that I remembered from 3 months ago when we did our last show. And like, fuck, y'all still missing? Ugh. You know, it's just exhausting. And we've been in this for 11 years on the show, but I've been in this since the early 80s when I saw Etain Pates go missing, and when I saw Adam Walsh go missing, and when we were putting them on milk cartons. We don't do that anymore. But Etain Pates is a year older than me, and the first day he was allowed to walk to school by himself, he got snatched, and he was gone. I was a latchkey kid. I know what it's like to go to school by yourself. It affected me as a little boy. Just like Adam Walsh, who was at a mall in Florida with his mom, and he's worrying her to death for quarters to go play video games. She finally relented, and he went to go play games. He was never seen again until his body was found, dismembered. I remember, because I was the kid that I would steal quarters. Like, I had to get video game thing so bad. Like I'm stealing quarters from loved ones to go play Pac-Man. You know, so I can understand with Adam Walsh. He had that drive. He had to go play his game. And he got separated from his parents, and it just didn't work out for his life to continue after that. And so it's personal for me. And every once in a while, I have to remind y'all of that. So I I just really need y'all to be mindful of these babies, man. The ones in your purview and the ones outside, that always render kindness to them. Even a little, yeah, I was gonna say something cold blooded. I'm not gonna say that. See, this is when you calibrate, you check yourself in the moment. You saw that? Yeah, I was about to say even the little nasty little fuckers. See, I couldn't control it. Maybe next week. Yeah, even them badass kids, you got to protect them too.
Gotta protect the baby.
Got to protect them too. Yeah. So I had to lighten it up because I was kind of wallowing and feeling bad about it because it's some real stuff. And I have been in this for, I'll be 49 in a few weeks, 44 years. I've been into what the hell is going on and why we snatching babies. 44 or 49 years. So it's real to me. And when you rock with me, I need it to be real with you too. Ain't no Astel Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. Yeah. Said it slow because I wanted you to hear it. And you're going to hear more about it when I rant and I close, because we got a milestone for that too. It's time for us to close out the show. We're going to rant. We're going to close. And it's time for us to do that with John and Steph. I'm just so excited to be back in space with them. As John alluded to, and he said with his tongue placed firmly in his cheek, I already see you all the time, man. Yes, it's my brother and I love him. We hang out anyway, but we bring different energy when we come in here. And I love how we do this. John, it was the first time we did it in 90 days or 3 months or whatever the time frame that we are going to attribute to how long we've been apart in this setting. I'm glad to be doing this with you. I have been open about how if this right here, this triumvirate runs its course, that's it. I ain't doing this no more with nobody else. Period. Period. All the years I've been doing this. It's coming up on 12 in radio. A lot of different people have come past these microphones. But this man right here and this sister right here, we have developed the kind of bond and kinship that I don't want to do it with nobody else but y'all. And it's a big part of that is this man right here. John, you got the con for your own rants and your closing. I appreciate you, brother. I love you, brother. Thank you for being my brother. What you got?
Appreciate you. Love you. Thank you. This is very, very therapeutic for me. So I need to do this. And thank you for providing a platform. My rant tonight is going to be a bit personal. And hopefully people will hear me. Right? Folks, your health is all you have. Right? And time is your true resource, the only true resource that you have. Anything else can be taken from you and replaced, except for your time. And your time won't matter if your health isn't good. Today I feel better than I felt in the past 2 years. And I was sick and very sick and didn't know it. I'm being treated. I'm feeling better. And like I said, feel better than I felt in 2 years. If you do not have some type of medical coverage, get some type of medical coverage as soon as possible, because healthcare is expensive, unfortunately. However, there's a lot of things that we need to do outside of the traditional healthcare system that will make us better. One of the things you need to do is something called a micro element nutrition blood test, right? So where they test your blood, and not like you normally get. I go to the doctor maybe between 4 and 6 times a year for regular checkups and do blood work. With this blood work, they check your minerals. Know that when you see that periodic table in high school or junior high school, all of that stuff is in your body. All the stuff that's in the known universe is inside the human body, right? And it's supposed to be a balance of those minerals, nutrients, and vitamins in your body. And a lot of people's illness is because of an unbalanced nutrition system in your body. The poison that they call food in this country is a big contributor to us being unbalanced. But also, we don't know to deal with it. And when I asked my personal primary care physician about it, he says, I can't do that. He said, I would love to do that for you, but I'm not allowed as a doctor. So something that could really, really help you, they won't allow doctors to do. They won't allow your doctor to give you a micronutrition blood test. Can't have it done. You have to go to another facility, get it done. It costs about $200 to $300. And they'll tell you what's unbalanced. Is your zinc levels correct? Are your iron levels correct? Is your vitamin levels correct? You have not enough vitamin D, too much vitamin C, too much vitamin B, or not enough K. All of these things to your body, there's a balance, and most of us are out of balance most of the time. Get that kind of blood work done, find out what you're missing, and start supplementing with vitamins, also through healthy food choices. Healthy food choices. Stop worrying about the better water. Just drink more of it, right? The alkaline, non-alkaline, distilled, tap, the blah, the blah, the blah. More water, less other stuff, right? It would be wonderful for all of us to turn into Dr. Sabi overnight, fast for 40 days, and then eat nothing but natural stuff. I remember one time when I was a teenager, I was into this health gig, and I only ate living things for like 6 months, a year. All I ate was living stuff. I ate nothing cooked. Raw foods, nuts, fruits, vegetables, everything fresh, because the enzymes were still moving in them. I was eating living stuff for a living person, right? That was the idea about it, right? But I went back into, cooked foods and meats and all this other kind of stuff. But again, moderation is the key, right? If your diet is your diet, it would be wonderful if you ate nothing white. There's nothing white that you could eat that's any good for you, right? The more color it has, the deeper, darker the color, more than likely the better it is for you if it's not toxic. But again, moderation. Drink more water, and don't worry about, oh, it's not the smart water, it's not the this and not that. Just more water than everything else. If you're gonna have some soda, if you're gonna have some juice, whatever you're gonna have, right? Drink 3 times the amount of that in water before you have that other thing. Right? That's a real easy way to do it. Do it like that, right? Your body regenerates itself naturally. It's a wonderful, magnificent machine, right? And because we overeat, our bodies don't regenerate, right? After a certain amount of hours without food, right? And this is where the fasting comes in. After a certain amount of hours without food, your body immediately begins to regenerate new blood cells. These new blood cells do not have the toxins that the old blood cells have. The problem is people start aging prematurely because they're not letting their body reproduce new blood cells. So try to, a couple of times a week, go 18 hours without eating. 18 hours. Let your body flush itself out. You're going to need at least 8-9 hours for the last meal you ate to go through the digestive system anyway. More than that, if it's most of the bad foods that we eat, right? That physicians say you should have a bowel movement for every meal, right? But we don't have that. We don't have that. This is how broken our bodies are. And I say all of that to say I'm not preaching. I'm definitely not the poster boy for good habits, right? I'm a foodie. I'm an emotional eater. I cook as my emotional therapy. This is how I get through things. So I'm not the poster boy, but I have information. Because I was sick, I had to find out why I was sick and how to get better fast. So I am a person who does research, and I study and I listen and I learn, and I became somewhat of I won't say expert, but I'm a person with information right now, understanding how to heal yourself. And people talk about working out and all that. Listen, um, you can fight the battle in the gym and on the treadmill, but you win the war at the dinner table, right? Watch what you eat, moderation, uh, more color the better. No white if possible, but definitely less white. Think about it: starches, sugars,
Condiments.
salts, all of these things. If it's white, it's bad. And think about the good stuff: greens, dark greens, red greens, all of these type of vegetables, bright colored fruits. All of these things that are good for you have color in it, like you have color in you. Even the European pale kids, y'all got color in y'all too. It's just fainted, right? You had a necessary adaptation to the environment that you were in, right? But you got color in you. You're not totally absent, right? Eat well, eat better. Think about your health, because without your health, you have nothing else. And that's my rant.
Ain't no half step. Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy in that radio. My right hand, who sits on my right side, my dear sister who I love. I am just so blessed, John, and I are so blessed that we get to do this with you. Like, we get to do this with you, right? Because we realize that you are special. And when I hear stories of those who don't realize that, who make a choice to be wasteful with your energy, it's upsetting. It's very upsetting because there's so many different layers to how the story played out. But the ground floor of it is don't fuck with people. Just leave people alone. That's the ground floor. Like, that's the simplest thing. And we could talk about how we know and love you personally and why it's a violation because of how great you are. Like, we can talk about that, but we shouldn't have to. Like, everybody deserves to be left alone. So I want you to be seen. I want you to feel validated. I want you to know that there's care for you. You know, even in the midst of the most disrespectful acts perpetrated by others, you got people who love you. So know that, feel that, share your rant behind that.
Thank you. Thank you, both of my brothers. You guys consistently demonstrate that. Marcus, I talked to you about the situation off air, and your words, your kindness, your support means everything to me. John, thank you for your messaging around it tonight and for trying to give me some perspective in it all. And I just appreciate you both, and I appreciate the listeners that have responded, and thank them for their support and the emotional support, because it is appreciated and very necessary in moments like that. My rant tonight, very brief. We've been off the air for 3 months, as Marcus has mentioned. I think that we do a really good job as a unit discussing politics and the things that are happening. And I think over the next few weeks, we will catch up and discuss some of the things that are going on. This weekend, CPAC occurred, and some other donor forums occurred for upcoming individuals in the grand old party, the GOP, the Republicans, the Ultra MAGA, whatever they want to call themselves lately. And what I realized is the things that they have been telling us we are overreacting to are exactly the things we need to be reacting to, because those are the things that they, quote unquote, are going after. So we now have Ron DeSantis trying to elevate to make America Florida. And he doesn't care about greatness. He wants America to reflect Florida and all of the things that he is willing to cull out of education, which includes education about the history of Black people in America. As though our history isn't American history. It is. They are now discussing AP African American Studies in Virginia and how we can reduce those platforms, why they aren't relevant. I mean, we literally have individuals that are saying the experiences of our forebears, of our ancestors, is irrelevant. One individual that literally said it doesn't offer anything. It doesn't have educational value. These are people who dress up many, many weekends a year and go and reenact the Civil War drama. You can drive out to Williamsburg here in Virginia and see people dressed and literally reenacting funerals of their Civil War heroes, the slave owners that they held up and exemplify in American culture. And meanwhile, we are too silent. We are too silent. We don't realize that showing up is a necessity. And it's a necessity beyond the lessons that we're learning on a regular basis. It's a necessity for the maintenance of our history. It is a necessity for us to move on. We watched the Supreme Court roll back Voters' Rights Act, get rid of the Voting Rights Act in general. I mean, get rid of it. The John Lewis Act is still sitting there, simply a request for equality sitting on a desk. They refuse to pass it. Look at what happened with the George Floyd Act so that we could have equity in policing. Meanwhile, the Asian American community was pictured as a target for a summer, and we passed a $500 million bill for them. If you decided to not discuss the Holocaust in classrooms, the Jewish community would not have it. As a matter of fact, we would likely never attempt to remove the history of what happened in Germany, Poland, and other places in Europe did not occur here. But if we tried to not talk about it, it's not even a part of American history other than us getting involved to protect them while being dismissive of the lives that were here and are part of this society. We have to be conscious of the fact, we've gone through this hyphenation phase. We've been colored and Negro. We've been Black and African American. We've been Black Americans. We've gone through all our phases of the things that we want to be called. And that's irrelevant. What they're calling us is irrelevant. It has no true relevance. We know who we are. We don't need a label for it. What has relevance is how they want to erase us, our forebears, what we went through, what we've experienced, which once you erase that, it allows them to be able to enact new laws that going forward are going to limit our children, that are going to remove the history and the legacy, the current history. If you think that they are just going to remove history from 1980 back and just walk away from it, no, this is also a layup so that they can then exclude history going forward so that our successes are not discussed, so that our current battles are not discussed. And when I say they, it's a political thing. So you have the Tim Scotts, and you have, our own lieutenant governor, the gun-toting lady, who could care less, and you have brown people like Nimrata Haley, Nikki, who doesn't want to be called Nikki because racism doesn't exist, but she knows she cannot live in a GOP space and call herself Nimrata. But racism doesn't exist. We have these people who some look like us working to communicate that racism and bigotry and exclusionary behaviors are not relevant, just so that 1 or 2% of us can be included. Yeah, Chris Rock was using the N word, and he's a happy man when he's in front of white folk, making them laugh about black women. But there's an entire cabal, as they would like to say, of politicians who look like us, who are doing the same thing. They are erasing the experience of blackness because their small element is accepted, and they need to be. You need to pay attention. Here in Virginia, we have a governor who aspires to be like Donald Trump. And because many of us did not show up, he was elected. He was elected by lying and saying that he was centrist. And here he is demonstrating he's not centrist. He wants to remove education from our classrooms that tell the story simply of Martin Luther King. Not even the most in-depth. We're not talking about the Black Panthers. We're talking about the acceptable Negroes. They only want to talk about them. So my challenge to you, if you're listening, I don't care where you are. I looked up New Jersey to see what battles are coming there. Ron DeSantis showed up in Staten Island, New York. You can be in a blue state up north and sleep on this if you want to. Sleep on this if you want to. But the Italians in Staten Island ate this up. The Jewish people in Jersey City are eating this up. We have to be more proactive so that we can protect not only what has occurred, but what is occurring now. Everybody loves Beyonce, you love Jay-Z. Well, Black billionaires won't be included in the lesson going forward. That's too much like telling Black folk that you can make it, that there's opportunity, that you can do things greater than what they say you can do. It is important to now invest every single way that we can possible to show up, to go to your local city meetings, to show up at the same school boards that them folk were at screaming about CRT, which does not exist. Showing up and supporting a lie got them favor because we just weren't present. And I know sometimes we think that's not important, but showing up is the first step. Showing up and showing them that we are not ignorant to what they are doing and that we are not afraid to confront it is relevant and necessary. They are already running for 2024, and we all need to be aware that every bit of their platform is about exclusion of those who do not look like them. It is falsehood about how they are being attacked. Not true. Not true. They are afraid of becoming a minority. They are afraid of Black people or brown people understanding their abilities and using them. And you are only feeding them when you do not show up. This is the year to become politically active. If you are not, I challenge you. If you need to know how to register, you can DM me. If you need to know where to show up or where to go, DM me. I can connect you to the political people that matter in your area. I'm happy to do it. And I'm happy because it'll help not only you, not only me, but the legacy and the history of the children that are behind us. And we owe them that, if nothing more. And that's my rant.
Hashtag Marks J Live from NewDen, Legacy Internet Radio. It's been an outstanding night. It has been the kind of return that I could be proud of. And I hope that you all share that pride. The show bears my name, but it is no more mine than it is yours, John, and no more mine than it is yours, Steph. So just Remember that. And I want our listeners to remember that as well. I appreciate you guys so much. And I'll get to more of that here momentarily. And, hashtag Marks J Live from NewDen Legacy in that radio. So, as I had mentioned a few minutes ago, I mentioned that I would include the moments in Black history in my own rant. And so I'm going to start my closing music, my rant music, and I'll do two moments in Black history. And the third is a lot more personal, but it's still history based. Uh, on this day, March 6th, in 1857, the United States Supreme Court in Dred Scott versus Sanford rules that people of African descent cannot be United States citizens, are not protected by the Constitution, and have no standing to sue in federal courts. I mean, it's right there. When you think about how things are today, it's constitutional and history cannot be ignored. Like, they ain't never fucked with us. And they've always made it very clear legislatively that they don't fuck with us. When we can see what happened to George Floyd with Derek Chauvin's knee on his neck for 9 minutes, and you got people asking, well, didn't he have fentanyl in his system? Like, you have examples of it. Like, we don't even have to discuss it. We don't have to debate it. We don't have to discuss it. Like, they showing you that they don't fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? So we got a decision to make. Black people, people of color, marginalized communities, woke people, whatever you want to call it, you know? And I probably shouldn't even went all the way there, because you get other communities like to hitch their wagon to ours. When the reality is, ain't no community more oppressed in this country than our community. Like, God's a black woman. So I still wonder why this shit even happens to begin with. But that's a whole nother conversation that I ain't got time to get into in this rant. The next moment in history that I want to share, on this day in 1787, Prince Hall, a Revolutionary War veteran, organized the Negro Masonic Order in the United States, African Lodge number 459 in Boston. This became the first black self-help fraternal institution in the United States. His petition for the lodge was presented to the Grand Lodge of England in March of 1784, but its implementation was delayed. These fraternal organizations were important to blacks at the time. Along with churches and schools, they constituted an important part of the self-help movement. Prince Hall is recognized as the father of black masonry in the United States. Yeah, that's the politically scripted message behind it. End of the day, Prince Hall Masonry, as you can see, I am a part of, was founded on this day in 1787. So I'm paying homage to it. So mote it be, brothers, and peace to you all. So the final moment in Black history and the basis of tonight's rant stems from the events of March 4th, 2013. On March 4th, 2013, Jay Grizzy, Big Rube, Miss Tony, Marcus J, we all piled into Big Rube's apartment, more specifically into his kitchen, as many of us listeners and viewers and teammates have heard before, to launch Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J on the inaugural Legacy Internet Radio broadcast. 10 years ago this weekend, March 4th, 2013, Legacy Internet Radio was launched. And it's a lot of pride built into that. For about a year and a half prior to that, we have been doing this show, Ain't No Hashtag Marcus J, the show that you're hearing us do now. We were doing it on Tim Casey's platform at the time. It was known as Global Scale Radio. We were very happy, very proud to do it. But we had run our course on that platform. We had to make a decision. Are we going to stop? Or are we going to continue? Because continuing means moving on. And moving on means creating your own. And the conversation that I was having with Big Rube while we were both distressed trying to determine what we were going to do, I coined the phrase, independence is key to building your legacy. And Big Rube looked at me and he said, that's it. I said, what? He said, legacy internet radio. And there you have it. We had the name and we had the mission. The only thing that we didn't have was a place to be, equipment, LLC, all the things that you need, And in the week, because we aired on Mondays, and Tuesday morning, we had this conversation. So in them 6 days, we acquired the LLC, we acquired the computers and the equipment and all of the things that we need. The only thing that we didn't have was a place to be. Hence, the legendary prose that we always share about how we spent our first night and first few weeks in Big Rube's kitchen. 10 years ago this week. 10 years, man. It's so crazy to think about. But it's also a reminder of how time can be fleeting. It can go so quick. Pay attention. Account for your time. It's finite. None of us is staying here forever, and none of us is getting out of here without some bruises and some scars. We certainly have had our share at Legacy and Radio, but we're here, and we're so proud of what we've done. We're so proud that the fact that you're here. We're so proud that you're proud of us. We're coming up on 12 years of internet radio, 10 years tonight officially in ownership. We own this brand, and we share this brand. And we appreciate the fact that you share it with us. Independence is the key to building your legacy. But at the end of the day, there is no us without y'all. And we thank you. That is my rant. Marcus's unscripted rant. Ain't got nothing to do with what we in here talking about tonight. We thank you for John, for Steph. I want to remind everybody, as we just said, independence is the key to building your legacy. I also want to say peace to all of the stars and all of the squares. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Those are the words of Bob Marley, who you were hearing. Music ran out. Be blessed. Be well. Always keep it 100. And always remember, authenticity has no competition. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from NewDen, Legacy and Radio. We thank you. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Thanks for rocking with us. We're going to continue doing the show. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm with this, Wizzy. I'm just gonna lay back and I'm gonna drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. We about to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready, let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunter's talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call in, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, Legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk. half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street with the Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 and 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepper with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. My brother so smart, plus brother got style. Weapon Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk.